She's the universally recognized sword prodigy and campus goddess, but now her own brother has beaten her to the brink of death. Just as Arin Choi is about to be killed, I step in and save her at the critical moment. Right now, I'm staring coldly at Choi Jin-jium. Choi Jin-jium breaks into a cold sweat, warning me to stay out of the Choi Jin family's business. Hearing this, my gaze grows even colder. What kind of twisted family tries to murder their own sister? You see, I once fought my way through the entire monster world single-handedly, becoming the universally acknowledged strongest warrior in the world. However, when I challenged the Tower of Destruction, I was gravely wounded by the boss. Though I defeated the Tower Master, I was left there forever. But my soul traveled through time to a world 300 years later. After being reborn, I planned to live as an ordinary person and enjoy life. Who knew that in the next moment, a system interface would appear before my eyes? The Tower of Destruction will emerge in 5 years. I need to prepare. This gives me a massive headache. Looks like I can't escape my fate of getting stronger. Seems like my dream of living a carefree life is going down the drain. Then the interface pops up again, assigning me a task. It tells me to find my weapon and lost memories in the basement of Valhalla's sanctuary house. I don't quite understand this task, but first I need to go to Valhalla and look for clues. In the afternoon, I arrive at the academy to apply for admission. Before enrollment, there's a combat assessment. Before long, it's my turn to fight. My opponent is Soyeon-yu, a prodigy from one of the 5 great families. Multiple media outlets are covering this match live. I don't take her seriously at all. I yawn and tell her to just surrender. Soyeon-yu draws her sword, telling me not to be so arrogant. I roll my shoulders with complete indifference. Soyeon-yu's eyes turn cold. She's thinking about teaching me a lesson in a moment. The examiner on the observation deck sees my relaxed demeanor and senses I'm no ordinary person. As soon as the match starts, Soyeon-yu draws her sword and charges at me. She takes a step forward, executing the Yu family's ultimate technique, Azure Strike. As the blade falls, a burst of sword energy explodes outward. Just as the sword energy is about to reach my face, I grin. The arena echoes with a scream. The examiners are stunned by the scene. The 2 people in charge of broadcasting turn pale, because with just one punch, I've knocked her out cold. I can't help but complain. How are the prodigies 300 years later this week? 300 years ago, any random person could beat the living daylights out of today's so-called geniuses. In the afternoon, my 3rd assessment arrives. Since I instantly defeated a prodigy in the last round, I've gained some attention. Many people start cheering for me. At this moment, the examiner shifts his gaze to my face. This time, my opponent is Se-hyuk-oh, the eldest son of the Oseon family. Facing this prodigy, I still don't take it seriously at all. Seeing my attitude, Se-hyuk-oh boldly declares he'll make me die miserably. I don't fall for his provocation. I raise my middle finger in response to Se-hyuk-oh's boast. Se-hyuk-oh instantly flies into a rage. You have to understand, he's a super genius who combines both physical ability and talent. Without any effort, he was born with a powerful physique. Right now, I keep taunting and provoking Se-hyuk-oh. Se-hyuk-oh clenches his fists in anger, swearing he'll beat me to a pulp. Whoosh! He charges straight at me. I laugh to myself. What a big dumb oaf. With my current physique, I can't fight him head on, so I'll have to rely on skill to win. Se-hyuk-oh throws a punch that sounds like thunder, but I simply tilt my head to dodge. No matter how powerful the punch is, if it doesn't hit me, it's useless. I lightly lift my leg and kick. Se-hyuk-oh's body immediately loses control. Then as he's falling, I suddenly pull my palm back and strike hard into Se-hyuk-oh's stomach. This causes Se-hyuk-oh's eyes to roll back, losing all fighting ability. Just like that, with 3 moves, I easily win this battle. Though my body is incredibly weak after rebirth, dealing with someone like Se-hyuk-oh is no problem. The people on the observation deck saw everything that just happened. Among them is an old man who caught every detail of the combat moves. The moment Se-hyuk-oh attacked me, it seemed like I casually dodged the strike, but precisely because I dodged it, Se-hyuk-oh's body lost its balance. The old man realizes my combat talent is like that of a monster. Then he clenches his fist. He must find a way to bring me into his family. However, quite a few people on site recognize my value and report to their family leaders. In the afternoon, I face the final battle with great dissatisfaction. Because my opponent's cheering squad is full of hardcore fanboys constantly cheering for her, I speak up directly. Let's just start the match. I can't stand cheerleaders like yours. Arin Choi doesn't say more and immediately assumes a draw stance, but I wait for quite a while and she still doesn't move. This makes the situation awkward. I'm speechless. Does this girl want me to attack first? On the other side, Arin Choi is also frustrated. Her draw slash can only counterattack, otherwise it can't unleash maximum power. I grin. In that case, I'll attack first. Then I take a step forward, slowly walking toward her. When my body is 30 centimeters from her, she grips the sword hilt tightly. Slash! Energy erupts wildly from the blade. Lightning energy keeps building. Arin Choi's eyes suddenly change. This is the wind-up for an attack. Swish! The blade falls and my body is split in 2. But in the next moment, my figure disappears. This stuns Arin Choi. I speak slowly. Your eyes already revealed where you'd attack. Of course I could dodge. Hearing my words, Arin Choi trembles all over. She's terrified by my combat talent. The next second, I punch her in the stomach, showing no mercy. Arin Choi's figure flies back more than 10 meters, blocking my attack with her blade. I stare at her intently. This girl's talent is decent. Right now, Arin Choi looks at the sword in her hand, shocked. This person's control of power is incredibly strong. Clang! My fist strikes her blade. She's surprised why I appeared in front of her, because this punch has no killing power. power. I simply say lightly, if you can block this strike, I'll surrender directly. Bang! I pour in half my strength, creating a shockwave behind her. Thump! Arin Choi's body collapses powerlessly. I'm a bit puzzled. The draw slash that Arin Choi used looks somewhat familiar, but I can't quite recall. Finally, the top 10 for Valhalla's entrance ceremony are announced. First place, Joo-hyuk Kim, is my name after rebirth. As I leisurely walk out of the academy, a dozen reporters suddenly swarm around me, filming. This leaves me speechless. Those reporters go completely crazy, constantly throwing offers my way. Looking at these reporters' faces makes me disgusted. I curse at them to get lost. The next day, Valhalla Academy holds the entrance ceremony. We stand below the stage, listening to the teacher's vivid speech. I yawn out of boredom. Right now, I just want to quickly understand last night's pop-up message. It displayed, go to Valhalla's sanctuary house to find your weapon and memories. But none of this matters. I just need to find it and leave. After the entrance ceremony ends, we arrive at the virtual combat experience room. The instructor looks at our class members and immediately feels a headache coming on. At the front are Soyeon-yu and Arin Choi. The big guy in the middle is Sehyeok Oh. Thinking about this, the instructor feels immense pressure. Why are 3 descendants of the 5 great families assigned to this class? Glancing in my direction makes it even worse for him. The instructor says with a wry smile, this year is done for. These students are not easy to handle at all. However, the instructor quickly calms down and decides to first give us students a show of authority. Then he gives a brief self-introduction. He immediately presses a button to begin the first lesson. Swish! We appear outdoors. In an instant, hordes of goblin monsters surround us. Before the students can react, they're completely surrounded by goblins. Suddenly, an energy shield appears, blocking all the monsters outside. At this moment, the instructor smirks. All of this is naturally part of his plan. Next, he plans to use me, the top freshman, to make an example. The instructor points at the goblin monsters behind him and asks, can you handle them alone? I look surprised and ask him back, you mean right now? The instructor looks at me smugly, because most students have never seen monsters. Their first reaction is definitely fear. However, I suddenly grin, thinking these weaklings are nothing to me. Seeing this, the instructor's veins bulge. He didn't expect this kid to actually dare to smile. So he says, then it looks like you can handle them alone? I say, of course. Seeing me still so arrogant, the instructor immediately tells me to go fight. I know he's deliberately making things difficult for me, so I ask for a reward. The instructor is momentarily speechless. After a while, he says if I defeat all the monsters, he'll grant me one request within his authority. Though it feels a bit inadequate, it's a deal. Seeing him still rambling on, I directly step forward and ask for a combat sword. The instructor helplessly removes the sword from his back. With the sword in hand, I stand alone at the opening of the energy shield. Under everyone's tense and worried gazes, I slash down directly, instantly killing several goblin monsters. Then, swish! I swing horizontally, instantly slashing the throats of 4 more monsters. Looking at the goblins swarming from behind, I reverse my grip. Slash! I thrust the blade into a goblin's neck. For me, using a blade for the first time in 300 years, it feels pretty good overall. You have to understand, when I first started fighting monsters in the past, I could only grab whatever was handy around me to use as a weapon. Either way, this sword is much more suitable than what I used back then. Then I sense killing intent behind me. I quickly turn around. I see a giant goblin monster. Whoosh! I swiftly dodge the goblin's attack. The corner of my mouth curves up. As expected, these monsters all have simple attack patterns. Bang! I slash my sword fiercely across its face. My classmates watch my one-man show in stunned silence. The instructor can't believe it even more. He only gave me a worthless iron sword, and without using mana or particularly fast swordplay, I can still easily slay monsters. Looking carefully, he realizes my slow movements seem to be deliberately attracting the monsters. Seeing this, Soyeon-yu frowns deeply, gripping her own arm tightly. Sehyeok Oh can't stand still either, thinking if it were him out there, he might not come back alive. But Arin's face flushes red as she looks at me admiringly. After 2.5 minutes, all the goblin monsters have fallen under my blade. I turn back and provocatively ask the instructor, you'll keep your promise, right? At this moment, the instructor is left speechless and can only keep his promise. Next, the instructor teaches theoretical lessons all day, but they're useless to me. Right now, I need to quickly begin proper martial training. After all, this body is truly garbage. Walking along, I'm suddenly called by someone. I turn around and see it's Arin. Seeing her not speaking, I ask what's the matter. Only then does Arin stammer that she wants me to teach her swordsmanship. I'm completely confused. Isn't this girl specialized in swords? Arin speaks again, saying it's the technique you used this morning. Please teach me that swordsmanship. I impatiently pick my ear and refuse her. Arin asks unwillingly why. I say there's no reason. I just don't want to teach you. If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. Unexpectedly, she persists and says again, please teach me swordsmanship. This leaves me totally stumped. This girl won't give up until she gets what she wants. Then I point at her and say, stop pestering me. I have no intention of teaching you in the future either. Get lost. Then I put my hands in my pockets and walk away casually. The next day, I arrive at the classroom early. Just thinking about this lousy body makes me furious. Forget about martial training now. I don't even have a bit of mana. I clench my fist tightly. Fortunately, I've already found a way to solve the mana problem. Next, I just need to prepare for it properly. Just then, a figure suddenly stands in front of me. I look up and see it's Rodier from the Bentrick family's branch line. He comes up and asks me, do you want to gain power? If you become my subordinate, I'll grant grant you our Bentrick Sanctuary's blessing. Hearing this, I simply say flatly, what is this idiot talking about? Rodier's eyes widen in disbelief. Someone actually dares to speak to him like this? The maid beside him breaks into a cold sweat, looking at me in disbelief. Rodier seems to want to confirm again, asking what I just said. I say calmly, from the very beginning, I showed I wasn't interested. Can't you tell? What a clueless idiot. Rodier gnashes his teeth in anger, swearing to tear me to pieces. Just as he's about to make a move, the instructor speaks up to stop him. Seeing that he can't afford to offend this combat instructor, Lee Sang-chul, Rodier leaves furiously with his attendant. Soon it's evening. I walk on the way home from school. Not only did I gain nothing today, but some brat came looking for me this morning. Just as I'm getting angrier thinking about it, Aaron appears behind me again. Sensing someone behind me, I turn around. What I hear is still that same phrase. Please teach me swordsmanship. Seeing it's this brat again, I immediately say, do you want to get chewed out too? Meanwhile, the furious Rodier returns home. He grabs his attendant Yulia by the hair, planning to vent all his rage on her. He says viciously to Yulia, do you still think you're the eldest daughter of the Paris family? Then bang! He throws Yulia hard onto the ground and tells her to notify Desera and the second-year Senwraith family that someone needs to be dealt with. Yulia can only comply meekly. The scene returns to me. After refusing Aaron, I turn and leave. Who knew she would actually follow me all the way to the bottom of the dormitory building? To completely shake her off, I immediately say, 1,000 mo yuan per lesson. Watching her thoughtful expression, I think to myself, surely she won't bother me anymore now. Just then, she suddenly asks me to give her my phone. After taking my phone, Aaron frantically taps away. After finishing, she hands the phone back to me and says, I had to save my bank account in your phone to transfer money. I look at my phone and see she actually transferred me 100 million. This move completely stuns me. At this moment, Aaron says, can you teach me now? I burst out laughing and say on the spot, no, and I return her transfer. That night, I'm in my room trying hard to gather mana, but this garbage body quickly makes me give up on this idea. However, Aaron really shocked me. How can a student so casually transfer 100 million to someone else? Forget it. I plan to go find something first. Then both the money and mana problems can be solved. With that, I put on my clothes, shoulder my bag, and go search for the secret vault. A moment later, I arrive in Valhalla's mountainous region. I immediately begin searching. The vault's location can be found through the spirit orb that reacts to my mana. Before long, I find the location of one of the secret vaults. Without a word, I start digging on the spot. If I'd known it would be this exhausting, I should have built it in a shallower spot back then. At that time, the world faced a crisis. There was nowhere to keep my treasures safe, so I simply built secret vaults and put all my treasures inside. After digging all night, I finally uncover a large iron door. A keyhole appears before my eyes. I immediately channel my meager mana because this keyhole can't be opened with an ordinary key. I need to shape this ball of tangled mana into a key. Then, click! I insert it into the keyhole. After the door opens, I jump straight down. Countless gold and silver treasures sparkle before my eyes. From now on, I don't need to worry about money. Moreover, these storage stones can solve my mana problem. Back then, I specifically stored mana here to maintain the vault. I never thought there'd be a day I'd need to use it. The moment I pick it up, the mana in the storage stone continuously flows into my body. Next, I decide to take the storage stones first. I'll leave the heavy gold bars for now. The next morning, after arriving at school, I just feel sore all over and utterly exhausted. I swear in the future I'll build vaults shallower. Just one night of digging and my muscles are this sore. At this moment, Aaron suddenly crouches beside my desk. This sudden move startles me. Aaron doesn't waste words either. It's still that same phrase, please teach me swordsmanship. I rub my shoulder and say, you really don't get tired, do you? Speaking of which, among the 5 great families, the Choi Jin family is a renowned sword clan. Why does she want me to teach her? Thinking of this, I immediately ask her, can't you just learn more from your own family? Aaron says seriously that she must learn from me because she's never seen anyone more skilled than me. I ask puzzled, what about your father? Isn't he the head of the Choi Jin family? He should be better with a blade than me, right? Just as Aaron is about to say something, the instructor suddenly appears and tells me to follow him to the office. The instructor says it's about what you asked me last time. Hearing this, I immediately stand up. Of course I want to hear about this. Then I put my hands in my pockets and walk away. Aaron lowers her head in disappointment, thinking there's no chance again this time. Just then, my voice sounds. Tomorrow morning at 6, wait for me at the training ground. Hearing this, Aaron freezes in place, thinking she misheard. Seeing no reaction from her, I turn back and say, you don't want to? Aaron immediately shakes her head vigorously and promises she'll definitely go tomorrow morning. Next, I follow the instructor to the office. It turns out, the reason I was called here is that my request to enter the sanctuary house has been approved by the higher-ups, but I can only go to the first underground level. I agree immediately and arrange to go in tonight. After I leave, the instructor says with a wry smile it's unexpected. He thought this kid would blow up on the spot, but he accepted it so obediently. That evening, I follow the instructor to the sanctuary house. I see it's now surrounded by various magic formations. Except for the entrance, everywhere else is tightly sealed. Before going in, I ask the instructor what would happen if I entered the second level. The instructor replies, Valhalla will hold you accountable, you'll be expelled, and before you're expelled, you'll go insane. The second underground level of the sanctuary house is filled with the sanctuary's mana. Even slight contact will cause mental collapse. As soon as he finishes speaking, the door opens. I immediately prepare to enter. The instructor reminds me I only have half an hour inside. After entering the sanctuary house, the previous system pop-up appears again. I don't care if they'll expel me or not. This is why I came to Valhalla in the first place. As soon as I reach the first underground level, the system pops up displaying, conditions met, moving to the room. Before I can react, my body starts teleporting. When I open my eyes again, I hear a familiar voice. It's Balche, who perished together with me 300 years ago. At this moment, Balche casually says, meeting again after 300 years feels really nice. Before he finishes speaking, I go up and punch him in the face. I say angrily, I've been wanting to settle scores with you. Then another punch lands. You're not getting out of here alive today. Balche hurriedly tells me to calm down. He has something to say. My fist continues landing on his face. Whatever you have to say can wait until I'm done beating you. It's all because you ruined my plan for a life of leisure, you brat. Balche shouts, wait, aren't you curious where this is? The next moment, I stop beating Balche. Only then do I look around and discover there's nothing here at all. Balche dusts himself off and says, this is the image world. To be precise, it's the internal space of a sacred relic. What you're seeing now is just a body manifested by the image world. My true body disappeared 300 years ago. So that means Balche has been inside this sacred relic from the very beginning, and he's now become a sanctuary. Thinking of this, I punch him again. Then I point at Balche and say, I'm not interested in you becoming a sanctuary. I just want to know if you're behind those message pop-ups. Balche says he doesn't know either, because he also received that notification window. It indicated that if Balche made contact with my reborn self, memories could be recovered. My arrival makes Balche recall a suspicious figure, the one who turned Balche into the Tower Master of the Tower of Destruction. Hearing this, I'm full of questions and urgently ask, who is that person? However, this part of Balche's memory is sealed. He can't remember it all. Next, I tell Balche about the status window information, but the lower half of the text is blocked by squares and can't be read. Balche says, this might be because the memories haven't fully recovered yet, but your weapon, the Chan sword, has already been found. Naturally, you'll remember. I raise an eyebrow and ask, you found my weapon? It turns out this weapon has been with Balche all along and has become a sacred relic. After getting my Chan sword, I leave. I casually brush him off with a few words, fool the instructor, and then leave. I arrive at a place where no one is around. I spread my hand wide. The next moment, the Chan sword appears in my hand. Just then, the information on the notification window updates. It also requires the Chan sword to complete. At this moment, a group of thugs swarm toward me. It turns out it's Rayleigh, the eldest son of the Senwraith family, called by Rodier to teach me a lesson. Without a word, Rayleigh first sends forward a bald guy holding a spear ready to beat me. Before he can speak, I go up and kick him. Then, a high kick lands on this guy's head. Swish! The bald guy flies backward into the crowd. He crashes straight into the wall, losing all fighting ability on the spot. Rayleigh is just about to turn around and talk tough when I startle him. He sees that somehow a weapon has appeared in my hand. Then in an instant, I take down another thug. Seeing this, the red-haired fat guy talks big and immediately pulls out a dagger. Before he can react, my Chan sword is already at his shoulder. The next second, it smashes hard into the fat guy's face. In just a few seconds, I've dealt with 2 or 3 thugs. This scares the yellow-haired guy into a cold sweat. He can't tell what kind of swordsmanship I'm using at all, because I'm just casually swinging as I walk forward. The people around seem to be actively stepping up to get hit. I simply say to the remaining people, whether you attack or not, I'm still going to smash your heads. At this moment, Rayleigh can't stand still anymore. He raises the long sword in his hand, ready to teach me a lesson. But before he can make a move, my Chan sword is already pressed against his stomach. I first mock him thoroughly. Then I push my palm against the Chan sword's hilt. Massive energy instantly penetrates Rayleigh's body. Unexpectedly, this kid peacefully falls asleep on the spot. I slap him awake directly. I force Rayleigh to answer why they all gathered to mess with me. Rayleigh doesn't reveal who's behind it all, saying they just wanted to teach the first-year top student a lesson. Seeing him show such loyalty, I'm almost moved to tears. After saying this, I pick up my backpack from the ground and prepare to leave. Rayleigh threatens that if this gets out, I'll definitely be expelled. I scratch my ear. Several second-year students ganging up on a first-year junior, only to all get beaten down. If this news gets out, will you still have the face to come to school? Hearing this, Rayleigh clenches his fist viciously. Seeing he's not resisting anymore, I turn and walk away casually. Early the next morning, I arrive at Valhalla's physical training room, thinking I can finally properly train my body here. Suddenly, Balche's voice sounds in my mind. Why are you here? I'm startled at first. Balche says he's currently talking to me from inside the Chan sword I stored, so I relax. After all, he was once the Destruction King. If he were released, that would really be terrible. Then I ask Balche, is it really okay that I just took out the Chan sword that was being used as a sacred relic? After learning that Balche used the copy function and left a replica Chan sword there, I ask puzzled, why does the Chan sword have storage and copying functions? happens. Balche answers that after he woke up, all his powers disappeared, but the copy and storage functions were usable from the start. He doesn't know why either. Just then, Arin appears in front of me. Arin immediately says, "Can you teach me swordsmanship now?" I flatly refuse. We must start with physical training. Arin looks completely confused, not knowing why we need to start with physical training. I turn away and say, "If you don't want to learn, forget it." Arin quickly says she's willing to do physical training. I turn back and tell her to start with warm-up exercises first. Having her train physically is so she can better absorb mana. Controlling mana will also become much easier. The current trend is really strange. People want to practice mana without even training their bodies properly. Arin is the same. She has a lot of mana, but her stamina is only at the level of a sword-using student. After finishing the warm-up exercises, the formal training begins. I have to say, Arin's physical condition is truly poor. After just a few sets of exercises, she's lying on the ground panting heavily. I shout loudly, "Don't lie down! Get up and run 20 kilometers at full effort." Hearing this, Arin is scared out of her wits on the spot. After a morning of training, I feel pretty good. This body really gets stronger the more I train it. In contrast, Arin sits there with a blank stare. Right now, she just feels sore all over. Next, Instructor Lilia announces that today they need to do a small test. She wants to test how well everyone has mastered the strategies for dealing with monsters. This test will mainly be conducted in written exam format. Everyone is seriously filling in answers on their test papers. Only I'm looking at the test paper in front of me with a leisurely expression. Soon the exam time is up. The instructor tells everyone to pass their papers forward from the back. This test score won't count toward the final grade, but the instructor will use it as reference material for gauging abilities in the next class. Before leaving, the instructor notifies everyone that next time there will be a formal lesson in the virtual combat experience class. After returning to the office, the instructor frantically starts grading the students' papers. When she sees the answer I wrote, she instantly flies into a rage, thinking this kid actually dares to write such an answer. A teacher nearby glances over, not knowing why she's getting so angry, then runs over to ask if she's grading their class's work. The teacher says irritably, "So it's a student from your class." She grabs my test paper, swearing to properly teach me a lesson in the next class. 168 hours later, the teacher gathers all students to the virtual combat experience room. She says the last quiz has been graded. Most students' answers were close to the correct ones. Then her eyes turn cold, but there are always exceptions. Student Joo-hyuk Kim stepped forward. I pick my earwax, walking up very impatiently. "Swish!" The teacher directly hands over my paper. The question asks, "Please explain the most effective method for dealing with the labyrinth monster stone goblin." My answer is, stab it in the stomach. Seeing my answer, the teacher thinks I'm mocking this class. I tell the teacher not to get angry yet, because this is exactly how I did it. I just described the process. Seeing my arrogant appearance, the teacher becomes even more furious. Then she smiles sweetly. "Since you're so confident, why don't you demonstrate it live?" The next moment, the classroom transforms into a virtual room. A stone goblin appears in front of me. I understand what the teacher wants to do. The teacher's meaning is simple. If I personally demonstrate using the answer from my test paper, she'll acknowledge me. Immediately, I don't waste words and indicate I understand. Then I pick a sword and go to fight the stone goblin. The stone goblin glares at me with red eyes, baring its teeth. The teacher knows that I previously defeated 120 goblins alone. In terms of talent, I have it. But even so, it's impossible to defeat a goblin with one strike. The next moment, the goblin reaches toward me. Whoosh! I swing my arm forcefully backward. The next second, my sword thrusts straight into the goblin's abdomen. The teacher is stunned, barely able to believe her own eyes. The next moment, the goblin's figure gradually disappears. The first assessment is over. I look toward the teacher again, thinking my answer was fine, right? Stab the goblin in the stomach. Arin shows a smile. She knew this outcome from the very beginning. The teacher looks somewhat embarrassed, asking me how exactly I did this. I answer seriously, just stab the goblin in the stomach. This makes the teacher question reality. If you attack a stone goblin with an ordinary knife or sword, it won't have any effect at all. I laugh arrogantly, telling the teacher to change my 0-point answer to full marks. The teacher tells me not to get cocky. There's still another question waiting for me. She lightly presses a button, activating the second stage's virtual scenario. Instantly, I feel the entire ground shaking. The next moment, the ground beneath me curves and cracks open. A stone cave appears in front of me. Several goblins emerge from that cave. The teacher's very serious. If you can use the answer from your test paper to deal with them, then I'll change your paper to a perfect score. During the battle, if I act rashly, the goblins in the labyrinth will swarm and surround me. I shake the sword in my hand expressionlessly. In an instant, I move, without any warning. I stab into a goblin's skull. Next is the second diagonal slash, severing the goblin's head. My final strike hits the goblin's throat, preventing it from making any sound. 3 goblins. I finish the battle in just 3 seconds. The teacher is shocked once again, because all my reactions exceeded her expectations. I hold my sword horizontally. "Teacher, you must keep your word. Go back quickly and change my paper to a perfect score." After that farce with the teacher ended, I go to the gym to run. Also arriving is the genius campus goddess Erin Choi. Beep. The treadmill shows Erin has run 20 kilometers. Before long, Erin collapses exhausted in the gym. I'm somewhat speechless. She's done after just 20 kilometers? Don't their families arrange physical training for them? Unexpectedly, the result is exactly as I guessed. They generally don't train. When confronting monsters, they just use the sanctuary's power to deal with them. I feel somewhat disdainful. People 300 years later focus even more on the sanctuary's power, thereby neglecting their own physical abilities. However, in my view, this sanctuary power has too many drawbacks. If you run out of mana when entering the tower, it's the same as going to your death. Afterward, I ask Erin Choi if this physical training actually means anything to her. Erin stands up and says it's meaningful. After all, I'm the one who taught her to do this. So as long as she passes my physical training, I'll teach her swordsmanship. I laugh. What kind of nonsense answer is that? If I hadn't suggested physical training, you wouldn't have even thought about it. This leaves Erin speechless. That's exactly how she was thinking. I turn to leave, telling Erin to get back to class. Erin wonders if I don't need to go to class. The teacher might dislike me for this. I don't care about class content. They can't really teach me anything, so I'm going to train instead. When Erin hears I'm going to train more, she immediately feels nervous. I tell her to get back to class now. If there's nothing urgent, don't disturb me. I arrive at the weight room ready to do bench presses. At this moment, Balcha from another dimension speaks up. He thinks Erin wanting to learn from me just from watching a few of my strikes shows she's a sharp-eyed girl. Just then, Sayoko happens to be training in this gym too. We lock eyes. The moment becomes slightly awkward. After all, he lost to me in combat before. To ease the awkwardness, Sayoko pretends he didn't see me and leaves. I stare at his retreating figure, a bit dazed. It seems no matter the era, prodigies always maintain disciplined training. That's why strong people keep getting stronger. Balcha is speechless, complaining about why I still care about these people. I'm just paying slight attention. This Sayuk seems smarter and works harder than others. Balche doesn't continue the conversation. He recently received a new mission. Find the Eye of the Great Forest in Valhalla and Rona's home. Note that possessing a Chan's sword is required to meet the conditions. I look at the new mission interface. Rona's home seems somewhat familiar. I wipe my sweat. Looks like I'll have to stay here obediently for a while longer. This leaves Balche speechless. I just got into a fight with someone recently. At this moment, at the Bentrick family estate, a woman waits for her subordinate's final report. The subordinate reports that the mazes on Leiden's outskirts have all been dealt with. Beyond that, he's found some talented individuals and wants to recruit them. Hearing that talented people will join, the woman is quite pleased. She tells her subordinate to bring them to her after they pass the final test. There's another matter. Rodier wants to summon Desera to Country B. Hearing this, the woman's brow furrows, her expression becoming more serious. Desera is causing trouble for her again. Desera is the family's stain and most shameless scoundrel. He once ruined the family's reputation and committed countless wrongdoings. The woman's intuition tells her this meeting between the two is anything but ordinary. She then dispatches someone to monitor Rodier and relay a message. If he makes any bad moves, there will be only one result: expulsion from the family. The next day, I apply for permission to go out, because something suddenly occurred to me today. Suddenly, Soyeon-yu calls out to me. I'm curious what she could want, but I wait for a long time, and she still doesn't speak. This irritates me. Can't she just say what she wants directly? Seeing her stay silent, I simply say crazy and turn to leave. Hearing me call her crazy, she can't hold back anymore, and curses me as a jerk. Actually, Soyeon just wants to know how I can ignore mana and kill goblins directly. When she saw this scene, she was startled. My method was completely different from what's in the books. Just as she's about to speak, the teacher suddenly jumps out and asks me about my method for defeating stone goblins. I feel awkward. If I could tell them about this, that would be absurd. I tell the teacher I humiliated her. Shouldn't she hate me? The teacher's eyes sparkle. She feels ashamed about that incident. She only wants to know how I defeated goblins without using mana. I ignore both of them and leave without looking back. This leaves Soyeon standing there awkwardly. After all, she's never asked anyone for help before. She clenches her fist and can only console herself that she doesn't really need this method anyway. That evening, I arrive at a night market. This place only requires a certain fee, and you can conduct unlimited transactions with extremely high security. But I always feel something strange about this place, a sense of deja vu. Then someone approaches me, asking if this is my first time here. I directly pull out money and hold it in my hand, telling him to take me inside, because he's a staff member of the market, and the money I'm offering is the entrance fee. The man then points to the red light district. The gem exchange you're looking for is there. Walk forward 500 meters and take a turn to reach your destination. He also reminds me that there's not only gem trading there, but also some illegal weapons can be traded. As I turn to leave, he gives me a mask. I turn back and thank him. Their privacy protection security is really impressive. 3 minutes later, I arrive at this trading market. I approach a stall. I claim to have some high-quality goods to show him. This surprises the vendor, curious about what I can produce. Then I pull out a black bag. With a thud, I toss it in front of the vendor. The vendor looks. The bag is almost entirely filled with rings. He holds them in his hands and examines them carefully. Rings need to be inspected closely, or you could easily misjudge them. After seeing the details clearly, the vendor is shocked. He's encountered something incredible this time, because these rings emit a strange glow, clearly relics from the Age of Destruction. He then glances at the other rings in the bag. Unexpectedly, all the rings in the bag are relics from the same same era. At this moment, my voice interrupts him. I show impatience. You've been looking for so long, shouldn't you give me a price estimate? The vendor takes another careful look, confirming they're relics from the Age of Destruction, but he hands the bag back to me. He simply cannot afford the rings I'm holding. This surprises me. It seems relics from 300 years ago are truly valuable. The vendor then directs me to the auction house. I can definitely get a high price there, but the auction house might take 1 to 2 months, though I can't really wait. 1 or 2 months is way too long. The vendor nods in agreement. After all, auction houses need to promote and attract more bidders. If he buys now, he can only offer 3/4 of the price. That's all he has. I look indifferent. Then I'll sell to him at his price, as long as he can pay now. The vendor is shocked. He didn't expect to get such a great deal. The reason relics from the Age of Destruction are so valuable is related to the sanctuaries. Every sanctuary wants to obtain these rings. 10 minutes later, I receive a payment notification. This solves my urgent need. I didn't expect the rings I casually took out to be so valuable. There are many similar items in the secret vault. I basically won't have to worry about money from now on. On the vendor's side, he delightedly collects all the rings, but just then, an uninvited guest appears before him. The next day, the instructor invites me to dine together. Her purpose this time is to make me her assistant. I don't hesitate to refuse. Even with many benefits, I don't agree, because none of the benefits she mentioned attracts me. My top priority is to find a place called the Eye of the Great Forest. That place can only be entered during the first year assessment. Even though she's an instructor, she doesn't have the authority to let me in. Seeing I'm unmoved, the instructor immediately proposes exchanging information. In return, I tell her the strategy for defeating monsters. The instructor's information concerns Erin Choi. She might be expelled from her family soon. I don't care about this. She pays, I work. It's just a transaction. I stand up to leave when the instructor hurriedly tells me to wait. She suddenly stands up, saying since I've heard her information, I should tell her what I know. Though the instructor's information isn't what I wanted to hear, there's still one thing I'm curious about. You pester me in such a childish way, yet why are you so strict with students in class? Hearing this question, the instructor's expression immediately becomes serious, because she's responsible for teaching students how to defeat dungeon monsters. If she taught like it was a joke, something terrible could happen. Monster fighting strategies relate to students' lives, so she's this strict. Hearing this, I feel respect for her. Though this satisfies my curiosity, I still don't plan to tell her the monster strategies. On another side, inside the Choi-jin family, Erin Choi and a young man kneel respectfully before the family head. This young man is the eldest son of the Choi-jin family, Choi-jin Jeum. Erin Choi is the second daughter of the Choi-jin family. The family head has summoned them to select the family heir. Whoever passes the selection tournament will gain the opportunity to contract with the family's sacred relic, the Azure Moonblade. This is also the token of the legitimate heir. However, the loser will be expelled from the family. Neither hesitates for a moment. Instead, they agree in unison. The family head's stern gaze falls on Erin Choi, as if he doesn't want her to participate, but he sighs helplessly. The selection will be held in 3 weeks. You may both leave. Choi Jin-jeum mocks. Didn't you see father's expression when you said you'd participate in the selection? Erin recalls her father's gaze toward her. That look contained a trace of disgust. Seeing Erin's reaction, Choi Jin-jeum is pleased. You, an illegitimate daughter, dare dream of becoming the family head? You're like an annoying clown. You don't actually think you can beat me in the selection, do you? Facing his humiliation, Erin can only endure it through gritted teeth. This emboldens Choi Jin-jeum further. You merely received a sanctuary's protection while I signed an actual contract. You won't touch a single hair on my head. Since you've given up a comfortable life at home, I'll let you experience firsthand what the price of giving that up is. At this moment, Erin feels so helpless. She remembers her mother's final words. Her mother hoped Erin could become the family head. That way, she could do what she wanted. Erin understands that if she doesn't fight for it now, her fate later will be even worse. The next morning, I come to class as usual. Midterm exams are coming soon. The teacher explains the exam content and emphasizes that the school will expel the students with the worst grades. This isn't good. I never listen in class. The skills test should be fine, but the written test will probably be a disaster. I must stay at this academy before going to the Eye of the Great Forest. I can't half-heartedly get through this time. I immediately call out to Balshay, asking if he listened carefully during class. After getting his affirmative answer, I ask him to help me with the exam. Just tell me if my answer choices are right or wrong. Balshay thinks this is unfair to others. However, after my friendly persuasion, Balshay can only agree. After all, this is just selecting answers according to the sanctuary's guidance. After class, Erin calls out to me. She wants me to teach her swordsmanship. Erin has been training with me for so long without touching a blade. It just so happens I've also reached the time to practice with weapons. However, it's not yet time to teach her swordsmanship or blade techniques. First, I need to correct her method of holding the blade. After arriving at the training room, I first briefly ask about her situation. Before training with me, she practiced blade swings every day. After understanding this, I tell her to try drawing her blade first. Sure enough, as soon as she draws, I spot the flaw. I demonstrate for her. Grip the blade firmly with the ring finger and pinky. Erin follows my method and immediately notices the difference. She feels that gripping the blade this way is more stable than holding it with both hands together, and without even infusing mana. Seeing her grasp the correct method, I tell her to attack me with full force. Using mana or skills doesn't matter. Erin nods lightly. Then she sheathes her blade. Her entire aura suddenly transforms. Lightning crackles around her body. Immediately, she swings her blade straight out, but I easily block it. At this moment, the most surprised is undoubtedly Erin, because the moment she drew her blade, she clearly felt her speed increase significantly. I noticed this too, but there's still an issue. I remind her not to infuse too much mana when drawing the blade. Erin nods, indicating she understands. Then she charges at me again. A beautiful upward slash comes toward me. I sidestep while pointing out her problem. When you slash downward, rotate your body with more force. I follow with an upward strike that makes her lose balance. Like this, I have her attack me while pointing out her problems. She's grateful to train with me. In just over a month, her strength has improved tremendously. Before they know know it, evening has arrived. Arin is already gasping for breath. She clearly feels her blade techniques have become much sharper than before. However, she's also amazed by my strength. After sparring so long, she hasn't even touched my clothes. Arin thinks to herself, she asked him to teach her precisely because of his invincible swordsmanship. Then she asks if we can spar together next time. This requires some thought. Sparring with Arin is very helpful to me, and her talent in this area is quite good. Teaching her gives me a sense of accomplishment. However, from the beginning, I felt her blade technique seems familiar. I feel like I've seen it somewhere. Just the breathing technique is different. Regardless, this familiar blade technique greatly helps me regain my sense. If this were 300 years ago, her talent would qualify her to be my disciple. But I don't have time to take disciples now. Seeing her anxious look as I remain silent, I decide to tease her. I directly say no. I didn't expect Arin to simply say okay. She gives up so quickly. Arin says, your choices are all correct. As long as I listen to you, I can definitely become stronger. Hearing this, I didn't expect Arin to trust me so much. It seems I should guide her in the future. Time quickly passes 2 weeks. At this moment, all first-year students gather in the arena. This should be what the instructor mentioned 2 weeks ago. The instructor begins explaining the midterm exam rules. For this assessment, students can form teams of 8, complete the task within the specified time. This assessment requires clearing an F+ difficulty dungeon within 5 hours. The scoring standard only calculates contribution during the dungeon clear. Those who don't complete it within the time limit will be eliminated. The instructor shouts loudly, announcing the exam has begun. As the countdown begins, students immediately become frantic, searching everywhere to form teams. This scene matches the instructor's expectations. Most students are somewhat panicked. However, Lee Sang-chul's gaze remains on one girl. So-yeon-yu is calm and composed. She thinks there's no need to find people better than herself. 8 people completing the task in 5 hours is more than enough. Soon, So-yeon methodically forms her team. So-yeon's calmness earns praise in Lee Sang-chul's mind. Meanwhile, other students form teams of 20. Some form standard 8-person teams. Some have conflicts due to imbalanced team strength. Little do they know, from the moment the countdown started, the instructors have already begun scoring in their minds. At this moment, I see Arin still standing alone in a daze. I approach and ask, almost everyone has gone in. What do you plan to do? Arin says, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. This leaves me bewildered. What's wrong with this girl? Ever since sparring with me last time, why does she listen to everything I say? Does she have a crush on me? I clearly state I'm going in alone. This trial doesn't seem difficult to me. Then I enter the dungeon without looking back. Students who haven't formed teams try to recruit Arin. Arin refuses them. She's also going in alone. Seeing this, a nearby student tries to persuade her. Going in alone might disqualify you, but Arin believes she can do it, simply because I said it wasn't difficult. As all students enter the dungeon, the instructors observe each student's performance in the monitoring room. Combat instructor Lee Sang-chul takes just one glance. Based on each person's performance, he assigns the most appropriate score. This makes the nearby instructors admire him. After all, when Lee Sang-chul was a contractor, his dungeon clear rate reached 99%. He was considered a legendary contractor. He understands dungeon clearing better than anyone, so he can quickly and accurately assign scores. Even the sharp-eyed Lee Sang-chul discovers this year's students are above average, especially the few from the 5 great families perform very well. Among them, the most noteworthy is So-yeon-yu. Upon entering the dungeon, she methodically commands her teammates. Shield support and tanks block monsters in front, archers deal damage from behind. This is the classic dungeon strategy. Lee Sang-chul evaluates her highly. Tasks assigned to team members are clear, and she only takes actions that score points while guaranteeing 100% clear. When Lee Sang-chul checks my performance, it shows no search results. His heart skips a beat, as if realizing something incredible. Sure enough, when he opens the clear list, my name already appears on it. Lee Sang-chul can't believe I could be this fast, clearing it solo in 23 minutes. He immediately opens the surveillance video to confirm. He sees me alone, facing the goblin army's attacks. Within a few breaths, I slaughter them, even facing a golem that requires 8 people to defeat. I finish it with just one sword strike. This shocks all the instructors present. Lee Sang-chul says helplessly, it seems first place in this midterm will still be the student named Joo-hyuk Kim. When results come out the next day, I indeed secure first place with an overwhelming score. Lee Sang-chul believes if I continue growing at this pace, I have a chance to help the country reclaim the top ranking. However, this midterm, Arin also gives them a surprise. She also cleared it solo, though it took longer and she sustained injuries. This also surprises the nearby instructor. When he was an officer in the Choi-jin alliance, Arin only knew how to practice swordsmanship mindlessly. He can't understand how Arin thought to challenge the dungeon alone. Soon, the results are announced. When Rodia sees I'm in first place, his expression turns cold. Then he goes to meet his brother Desera. Rodia wants Desera to eliminate me. A week later, because I got first place, I have one opportunity to go out. I'm going to search for the remaining secret vaults. My destination this time is a place called Water Garden. Unexpectedly, a blonde thug blocks my way. On another side, inside the 7th market, the market administrator overlooks his domain. Suddenly he receives a notification. A sanctuary asks him when the ring will be delivered. The administrator indicates it needs to go through normal procedures before delivery. This is driving the sanctuary crazy. The administrator doesn't know why the sanctuary is acting this way. This is the first time he's seen a sanctuary have such an intense reaction. Just then, white light flashes on the nearby teleportation platform. A black box appears on it. Inside are the very rings I sold earlier. The administrator takes out the ring and presents it before the sanctuary. Seeing this, the sanctuary immediately trembles all over. fearfully repeating, "He's here, he's here." The scene returns to me. I look at the blonde thug who appeared before me, somewhat puzzled. However, his fierce, menacing face doesn't look like a good person. The blonde thug snarls, "You think getting first place is so great, don't you?" Before he finishes speaking, I'm already in his face. One punch sends him flying. Seeing this, the thug pulls out his weapon, mana surging around his body. He glares at me fiercely, about to say something threatening. I flash in front of him. A roundhouse kick hits his head. I don't know where this weirdo came from, talking tough before fighting. The thug then crashes into the tree behind him. My figure follows immediately, swinging a punch. It lands heavily on the thug's face. I grab his hair. "Just a few hits and you can't take it? Tell me who sent you." On the other side, in Rodier's room, Rodier waits smugly for good news from Desera. Then Desera's phone call comes through. He eagerly asks if Joo-hyuk Kim has been dealt with, but what comes through the phone is only a scream. I take the phone and remind Rodier, "Your dear brother has closed his eyes. Make sure to burn 2 incense sticks for him. Don't you dare forget him." Earlier, I learned from the thug that the mastermind behind him is Rodier. Rodier, as a young master of the 5 great families, worries about things getting out of hand. He thinks to himself, "I'm just a high school student with no background, maybe no one to even complain to." Little does he know, I've already learned everything from the thug. However, there's one thing that concerns Balche. That is, the mana the thug used earlier. This mana feels very familiar to Balche. He feels like he's encountered it somewhere. It resembles a type of dark mana. Balche speculates this dark mana might be related to the force behind the thug. This reminds me of when I interrogated the thug. He mentioned an organization called First Class Breed. They usually accept various commissions like mercenaries. The sanctuary they serve is called Blade Behind, and the thug is a contractor who signed a contract with it. After questioning him, I beat him up but didn't kill him. I also look up information about First Class Breed on my phone. This is completely a villainous organization that does inhuman things. Next, I need to think about how to deal with Rodier. I already have the thug's confession recording ready. I immediately call the instructor and ask if she knows any journalists. In exchange, I can tell her some monster fighting information. Soon, news about the Bentrick family instigating assassination of students hits the headlines. The thug is also arrested. I watch how things unfold. This impact exceeds my expectations. I originally only wanted to target Rodier alone. I didn't expect the entire Bentrick family to suffer. Soon, the head of the Bentrick family holds a press conference, stating this incident was a mistake committed by the expelled Desera acting on his own. He also states Rodier will be summoned back to the family and subjected to intensive investigation. Rodier watches this entire press conference. Soon his father calls, telling Rodier to come home immediately, emphasizing this is the family head's order. The thug is also chased by reporters demanding a statement, but the thug insists it was all his own doing. This puzzles me. Looks like they're sacrificing the pawn to save the king. Soon I arrive at the place agreed upon with the instructor. In exchange, I can tell her some information. I just need her to let me go out this weekend. The instructor agrees without hesitation. On another side, a ship holding criminals sails across the sea. Inside the ship's detention center is the thug. The thug didn't expect to be deported. He might even be imprisoned in Prism Tower. Prism Tower is a prison located in the center of the Pacific Ocean. This is a space personally created by the S-rank sanctuary, Glory of Nothingness. No matter what kind of contractor, they become ordinary people when imprisoned here. Though the thug feels fearful, thinking he only needs to serve 5 years gives him some relief. Suddenly, a voice says, "You look truly pathetic." The thug quickly turns his head. Suddenly, a crimson flash cuts through. The thug only feels a chill on his neck before his throat is slashed. The man before him says coldly, "First Class Breed doesn't need someone like you." The thug wants to say something, but can only make choking sounds. He collapses on the deck, heading to meet the King of Hell. The man who completed the mission transforms into smoke and slowly dissipates. At this moment, inside the Bentrick family estate, Rodier and his father stand here meekly like grandsons. Before them, the family head lectures them. Rodier explains the reason for causing this incident, except he changes it to Joo-hyuk Kim insulting the Bentrick family, which is why he took action. Hearing this, the family head's aura suddenly changes. "Do you think I'll believe that? Because of your mistake, the Bentrick family's reputation is completely ruined. So what do you plan to do, Rodier Bentrick?" Rodier drops to his knees with a thud, promising he will definitely restore the family's reputation. The family head plans to expel Rodier from the family, but doing so would be tantamount to admitting Rodier instigated the thug. Ultimately, the family head decides not to expel him for now, warning him to do nothing when he returns to school. As for punishment, she'll consider it slowly after meeting Joo-hyuk Kim. Leaving, Rodier understands he'll still be expelled from the family, so he'll make his move before then. Rodier's father will also help, warning him to do it quietly. On another side, the instructor notifies me that the head of the Bentrick family is coming to apologize. This is driving me crazy. Seems they're not here with good intentions. The instructor also finds the situation unpleasant, but recently the school received a payment from the Bentrick family. The school relies on donations from major families for most of its funding, so it can't make relations too tense. The next second, there's a knock on the door. The visitor is indeed the head of the Bentrick family. The instructor tells us to have a good talk and then leaves. This woman looks quite amiable, introducing herself right away. "Hello, Joo-hyuk Kim. I'm Adriana, head of the Bentrick family." I greet her fearlessly. "Hello." First, she bows to me, expressing deep apologies for what happened. To this, I respond very generously. "It's fine. You've already punished him anyway." I also don't pursue the inaccurate content she stated at the press conference. Then Adriana states her purpose for this visit. "I have a direct way to resolve the misunderstanding. I wonder if student Joo-hyuk Kim could help me. If you can help our family eliminate the negative impact this time. Before you become a hunter, our family will provide full support. After you become a hunter, I can also let you join an alliance sponsored by our family." I directly refuse, staring at her with a grin. Are you trying to say, to shut you up, this is all we can do? Just do as I say, right? I point at her forehead and continue. I'm already angry because of you all. I don't need to do what you want, understand? The humiliation you suffered because of Rodier is what you deserve to bear. At this moment, Adriana's expression darkens. Then her aura suddenly shifts. You ignorant brat. Who do you think you're running your mouth in front of? I remain calm and continue. Only now showing your true colors? It must have been hard holding it in. Adriana says coldly, I wanted to be magnanimous and give you a chance, but you don't know what's good for you. Hearing this, I grin. Is that so? Then try to kill me. Adriana is stunned. She didn't expect me to say such a thing. I continue provoking her. To resolve the negative impact, you invested considerable time and money. Now you want to kill me? That kind of behavior is what's truly infuriating. Also, you might not be able to beat me. Adriana suddenly stands up. Joo-hyuk Kim, I'll make you regret this. With that, she glares at me viciously and leaves. Balche asks me in confusion, was it necessary to confront her so directly? I indicate that I hate people who act like royalty most. There's no class today. I head to the training room. By coincidence, I run into Arin Choi. Before her stands a young man. This is the eldest son of the Choi Jin family, Choi Jin Joo-hyuk. He's still that arrogant, coming to stop Arin from participating in the selection tournament. Arin directly refuses him. Choi Jin Joo-hyuk didn't expect Arin to refuse, his brow furrowing as he stares at her. Haven't you figured out the situation yet? At this moment, I come to Arin's side, pointing at Choi Jin Joo-hyuk. The one who hasn't figured out the situation is you, idiot. Choi Jin Joo-hyuk stares at me stunned. Do you know who I am, daring to insult me? Mind your own business. I didn't expect to encounter so many crazy people emphasizing their power today. I point at him. You worthless fool dare to enter the school and bully students? Now get lost. I figure Arin is thinking the same thing as me right now. Hearing this, Arin nods vigorously. Choi Jin Joo-hyuk is speechless, only able to leave a threat. We'll see this weekend. Then he leaves without looking back. I pull her to train. Tomorrow is the weekend and I need to go out to search for secret vaults. At this moment, reporters swarm in front of the Choi Jin family estate, because today is the day the Choi Jin family selects its heir. The two participants are Arin Choi and Choi Jin Joo-hyuk. Whoever can find the Azure Moonblade hidden in the deep mountains can become the legitimate heir. The one eliminated will be expelled from the family. As the family head announces the start of the competition, Arin charges out, taking the lead. Choi Jin Joo-hyuk stares at Arin's retreating figure, thinking this competition doesn't need to be rushed anyway. The Azure Moonblade will be found sooner or later. When the time comes, I just need to snatch it. Choi Jin Joo-hyuk makes up his mind to obtain the Azure Moonblade this time. The reason Choi Jin Joo-hyuk tried so hard to stop Arin from participating in the selection is because of a phone call he received earlier. The person on the phone asked him about the Azure Moonblade and demanded Choi Jin Joo-hyuk hand it over no matter what. In exchange, the other party would grant Choi Jin Joo-hyuk's request. Choi Jin Joo-hyuk understands this might be his last chance. At this moment, Arin follows the residual mana of the Azure Moonblade, searching for its exact location. She can feel the Azure Moonblade is nearby. At this time, Choi Jin Joo-hyuk has been following her all along. His plan is to wait for Arin to find the Azure Moonblade, then reap the benefits. Arin instinctively exclaims, Joo-hyuk Kim, gripping her blade handle and becoming alert. Hearing this, Choi Jin Joo-hyuk's expression darkens. You mean that kid who insulted me with you last time? Arin shouts sternly, shut up! You don't deserve to mention him. And why are you here? Choi Jin Joo-hyuk responds mockingly. What do you think? His hand moves to the sword at his waist. As soon as he finishes speaking, accompanied by the sound of a sword being drawn, Arin reacts extremely fast and blocks it. The next second, Choi Jin Joo-hyuk realizes something is wrong. Then his sword is deflected, his body sliding backward uncontrollably. This shocks Choi Jin Joo-hyuk immensely. He can't believe Arin has become this strong in just a few months. The scene returns to me. At this moment, I arrive at the outskirts of a desolate mountain to search for a secret vault nearby. I remember there's a rare treasure in this vault. As long as I find it, it will solve my greatest weakness from my previous life. If I had found it earlier 300 years ago, perhaps I wouldn't have been killed by Tower Master Balche. At this moment, I finally confirm the location of the secret vault. It's in the forest ahead. Suddenly, the sound of clashing mana echoes from up ahead. Meanwhile, the battle between Arin Choi and Choi Jin Joo-hyuk enters its climax. Arin finds her opening and unleashes a horizontal slash crackling with lightning. Though Choi Jin Joo-hyuk blocks it, his strained expression shows he's struggling. Even his hand gripping the blade trembles, but he stubbornly says, such strength. Did you learn some boar transformation technique? Arin doesn't get angry. Instead, she urges him to give up on the Azure Moon blade. Hearing this, Choi Jin Joo-hyuk flies into a rage. Charging forward with his blade, he roars, how could the Azure Moon blade go to a bastard like you? Seeing this, the lightning on Arin's blade crackles fiercely. She flips her sword, reversing its direction. With an upward swing, she sends Choi Jin Joo-hyuk flying backward. Arin flips her blade again. She strikes his chest hard with the pommel. Choi Jin Joo-hyuk flies back like a kite with its string cut. Looking at Choi Jin Joo-hyuk lying motionless, Arin silently thanks her luck that the strike landed. Just as she picks up her scabbard and turns to search for the Azure Moon blade, Choi Jin Joo-hyuk's voice reaches her ears. You don't actually think you can beat me, do you? At this moment, Choi Jin Joo-hyuk's aura transforms completely. Dark mana swirls around his entire body. Arin immediately recognizes it as dark mana and becomes even more cautious. She can't believe that Choi Jin Joo-hyuk, the family's eldest son, would use dark mana. Seeing Arin's shocked expression, Choi Jin Joo-hyuk grins. You must be curious how this happened, right? With that, he grips his blade with both hands and thrusts at Arin. Seeing this, Arin strikes first with a draw slash. Choi Jin Joo-hyuk bends his legs and barely dodges it. Arin is horrified. He actually dodged her draw at such close range. While she's stunned, Choi Jin Joo-hyuk's blade, wrapped in dark mana, slashes across Arin's abdomen. Arin tries to force herself to stand, but the searing pain from her abdomen won't let her straighten up. Only now does Arin understand. Choi Jin Joo-hyuk made a contract contract with an evil sanctuary. At this point, Choi Jin-gyum doesn't hide it anymore. He openly admits he's under the protection of the Faithful Ones. Eren has heard of the Faithful Ones. They're the third most dangerous villain organization in the world. Eren still can't understand why Choi Jin-gyum would sign a contract with the Faithful Ones sanctuary. But Choi Jin-gyum clears up her confusion. Turns out, Choi Jin-gyum joined to gain unparalleled power and prestige. Since childhood, he was driven nearly insane trying to become the family model. During the age when he should have been playing, he could only follow family rules. He was constantly monitored by his father. When his adolescent desires were at their peak, he encountered an envoy of the Faithful Ones who invited him to join. They even encouraged him to freely release his desires. The condition for joining was to offer them the Azure Moonblade. Then Choi Jin-gyum reveals another secret that enrages Eren. Over 10 years ago, he had a match with Aren's older sister. Unable to suppress his inner desires, Choi Jin-gyum beat Aren's sister into a vegetative state. Aren's mother fell ill after learning this news. Choi Jin-gyum says coldly, "Now you know everything. I also know where the Azure Moonblade is. In that case, I'll send you to join your sister." His blade rises high. Just as it's about to strike Eren at this critical moment, I intervene and save her. In my hand is the Azure Moonblade itself. Right now, I stare at Choi Jin-gyum with ice-cold eyes. Cold sweat drips down Choi Jin-gyum's face. He tells me to stay out of the Choi Jin family's business. Hearing this, my gaze grows even colder. What kind of messed up family attacks their own sister? With that, I send him flying with a single strike. When Eren sees it's me, hope reignites in her eyes. She immediately asks why I'm here. That's when I notice Eren's wounded abdomen. I casually brush it off, saying I was taking care of something nearby, and tell her to quickly gather mana to stop the bleeding. Eren obediently nods, a smile forming at the corner of her lips. Coming to his senses, Choi Jin-gyum stares at me with furrowed brows. "You arrogant bastard again! I told you, this is our family matter. Don't interfere." With that, Choi Jin-gyum roars and charges at me. Just by looking at how he grips his blade, I already know where he'll strike. Without moving my feet, I dodge. His attacks are full of openings to my eyes. To Choi Jin-gyum, this looks bizarre. He clearly didn't see me move. While he's stunned, clang, the pommel smashes into his face. Strange, I clearly hit his nose, so why is blood spraying from his mouth? My figure follows immediately after. I aim my blade at Choi Jin-gyum and slam it hard into his stomach. The tremendous force shatters the ground beneath. Taking this hit, Choi Jin-gyum's eyes roll back and he loses consciousness. I turn toward Eren, about to ask about her condition, but dark mana appears around Choi Jin-gyum again. I immediately recognize he can use dark mana, so this guy is a villain too. Choi Jin-gyum glares at me viciously. He believes a mere first-year student can't defeat him. In an instant, Choi Jin-gyum appears above me with his blade. I simply raise the hand holding the Azure Moonblade and easily block it. Choi Jin-gyum grits his teeth. He clearly infused mana into his blade, yet I'm completely unaffected. I stare at him like he's an idiot. While he's stunned, my fist is already flying. Boom. It smashes heavily into his stomach. Choi Jin-gyum staggers backward from my punch. He can't imagine this is a first-year strength. Right now, he's just getting beaten one-sidedly. This can't continue. He pulls out a purple crystal, an artificial sacred relic. Though it has severe side effects, he can't worry about that now. He puts it in his mouth and crunches it up. This purple crystal allows one to form a temporary contract with a sanctuary. After consuming the sacred relic, Choi Jin-gyum laughs sinisterly. The dark mana around him is dozens of times stronger than before. Far away at the Choi Jin family gates, reporters feel the ground shake. A sharp-eyed female reporter notices something abnormal in the distance. Behind the Choi Jin family estate, a terrifying purple aura shoots into the sky. The Choi Jin family head immediately recognizes it as dark mana, and the density is so high even ordinary people can see it. And that location is near the Azure Moonblade. The situation is too dangerous now. He must go confirm it himself. Looking at Choi Jin-gyum before me, I pick my ear dismissively. "So you were just gathering mana?" Seeing my arrogant attitude, Choi Jin-gyum resolves not to let me leave alive. The dark mana around Choi Jin-gyum then forms into a purple dragon. This sanctuary is called the Dragon of Total Annihilation. It recognizes the sacred relic and descends into the world. Suddenly, the Dragon of Total Annihilation activates its Eye of True Sight, but when it glimpses the aura around me, it's so terrified that snot drips from its nose. The Dragon of Total Annihilation declares it needs to escape from here. The next second, it cancels its temporary contract with Choi Jin-gyum, withdraws all its power and flees. Only a stunned Choi Jin-gyum remains, frozen in place. Coming to his senses, Choi Jin-gyum tries to say something, but I already have my scabbard pressed against his stomach. The next moment, a gut-wrenching thrust strikes Choi Jin-gyum. This time, Choi Jin-gyum collapses to the ground, completely unconscious. I then tell Eren I have business to attend to. If anyone asks, just say you were the one who defeated Choi Jin-gyum. Meanwhile, Hannibal, the leader of the Faithful Ones, is equally horrified. The Dragon of Total Annihilation warns Hannibal never to give sacred relics to others again. It nearly cost him his life. Hannibal drops to his knees with a thud. He doesn't understand why the sanctuary is so furious. Perhaps the guy lurking in the Choi Jin family screwed things up. But why did the sanctuary say it nearly lost its life? Hannibal resolves to investigate this matter thoroughly. At this moment, I finally find this divine technique manual. It's a cultivation method that enhances mana gathering. 300 years ago, I also found this divine technique, but my body had already adapted to the original method and couldn't learn a new one. The reason I perished together with Balche was because the old method was too poor, causing my mana to be completely depleted. Now this new body can learn the new cultivation method from scratch. Meanwhile, all the Choi Jin family executives gather together. The incident of dark mana appearing at today's family selection has been reported by countless media outlets. This has caused the Choi Jin family to lose tremendous face, and the one using dark mana was the family's eldest son. Choi Jin-gyum Gi-eum has been handed over to the police by the family. Erin is hospitalized receiving treatment. Hearing that Erin is fine, the family head's anxious heart finally settles. News about Erin is also reported, describing her as a genius student who fought against a villain. This significantly reduces the negative press for the Choi-jin family. These favorable reports greatly help Erin's chances of becoming the heir. However, the family head remains curious about how Erin defeated Choi-jin Gi-eum. When they arrived that day, only the injured Erin and the unconscious Choi-jin Gi-eum remained. Erin's explanation is simple. Joo-hyuk Kim taught me. This makes the Choi-jin family head curious about me. A few days later, I come to class as usual. I notice that Erin, whom I haven't seen in a while, has come to school. I thought she'd be resting in the hospital, but she's recovered so quickly. Erin turns to look at me with perfect timing. She smiles and waves at me in greeting. The students behind think the ice-cold campus beauty is trying to get their attention. Right now, Balche feels uneasy. The dark mana that Choi-jin Gi-eum used earlier seems familiar to him, but he can't remember. It's as if some force is deliberately blocking his memory recovery. I suspect it's the work of whoever turned him into a tower master, but Balche can't be sure. Once the second condition is met, his memories might become clearer. I remember the second condition is the Eye of the Great Forest. I originally thought it was the location for the strength exam, but later discovered it's the final exam location. This is driving me crazy. Waiting until finals, how much time would that waste? But that's fine. During this time, I can practice the divine technique or secretly search for the Eye of the Great Forest. At this moment, the instructor tells us that in 1 month, there will be an inter-school tournament. The school will select students with excellent midterm results and give them priority to apply for the tournament. Sure enough, the instructor calls my name first. We then go to an interview room where he'll explain the tournament details. Before he starts, I directly say I won't participate, though I am curious about this inter-school tournament. Though somewhat helpless, the instructor begins explaining. In this world, there are 3 major hunter training institutions. My school, Valhalla in Country B, the White Lotus Society in Country D, and the Superhero League in Country N. These 3 institutions select representatives from first-year students to complete several tasks in a tournament. If the school wins first place, all participants receive scholarships. My ears are getting calluses from listening. This so-called tournament still doesn't interest me. The instructor looks at me and sighs helplessly. Looks like you don't want to quickly enter the Eye of the Great Forest either. This immediately piques my interest. Noticing my reaction, the instructor continues. The final task of this tournament takes place inside the Eye of the Great Forest. If you complete this task, you won't have to take the final exam. Hearing this, I instantly perk up and immediately decide to participate in this tournament. Meanwhile, inside the Bentrick family estate, Adriana sits high in the family head's seat. 2 men in suits stand before him reporting. To ensure absolute certainty, we need 1 more month. Adriana nods and instructs them to watch Rodier closely. If he makes any unusual moves, report immediately. The suited man bows in acknowledgement and reports a strange piece of news. The market managed by Black Cat is building houses with currency. This puzzles Adriana. Black Cat has never taken such conspicuous action before. This also arouses the curiosity of the Bentrick family's sanctuary. The sanctuary with the bird mask signals Adriana to elaborate. At this moment, inside the 7th market, massive machines are constructing buildings with paper bills, though Black Cat will certainly execute the sanctuary's orders. He doesn't understand why they must build houses with currency. The sanctuary replies that it's a gift for that person. This horrifies Black Cat. Someone who makes the sanctuary personally prepare a gift. Could it be that person? The sanctuary asks Black Cat if he's found the person who sold the ring. Black Cat stammers that he hasn't found them yet. The merchant who bought the ring only told him about the person's clothing and voice. As soon as he finishes, a suffocating pressure descends on Black Cat. The sanctuary says coldly, find him quickly. Meanwhile, in the office, the instructor racks his brain and finally determines the tournament participants. On the list, all but 1 student are from the same class. This surprises combat instructor Lee Sang-chul. He originally thought I wouldn't participate. The instructor says I was unwilling at first, but as soon as I heard about the Eye of the Great Forest, I immediately wanted to join the tournament. This strikes Lee Sang-chul as odd. Normal people would hesitate even more after hearing about the Eye of the Great Forest. Lee Sang-chul suspects there's something I must obtain. From the sanctuary house at the beginning to now this tournament, Lee Sang-chul feels I came to this school with a purpose. He immediately decides to personally train this batch of tournament participants. A few days later, the 5 of us are called together. Lee Sang-chul will introduce the tournament tasks and explain the training content. The tournament is divided into 3 tasks. First is the individual battle between students. Second is the team battle. 5 participants from each school form a team, then the 3 teams battle at 1 location. The third task is the Eye of the Great Forest. Since this is essentially an early final skills exam, the detailed task content can only be revealed on the day. But Lee Sang-chul can tell us the Eye of the Great Forest is a labyrinth. Because the tree density inside is extremely high, it's easy to get lost. I didn't expect the Eye of the Great Forest explanation to be over so quickly. If it's a labyrinth, rushing through should work. Seems this task isn't as simple as I thought. Lee Sang-chul then explains our upcoming training routine. I raise my hand and ask if I can train alone. Lee Sang-chul readily agrees, provided the solo training is more effective. Erin also raises her hand, indicating she wants to train alone. I need to at least fully master the divine technique before the tournament, then use stored mana stones to adjust my body to optimal condition. The remaining time will be for physical training. At this moment, Erin asks if she can continue our previous training. I say, didn't you want to train alone? Besides, your body can't handle intense exercise, right? Hearing this, Erin falls into thought. Earlier, the instructor had asked Erin if she wanted to participate in the tournament. When she learned I was participating, Erin insisted on joining even though she knew her body wasn't ready, because her goal of becoming family head is halfway complete. But now she has a new goal. Erin glances at me. My goal now is to get stronger with you and help you achieve your goals, just like you helped me. Erin stares at me, a blush appearing on her face. In the sunlight, she looks even even more endearing. Seeing her radiant expression, I feel a bit uneasy. I tell her to spend most of her time practicing mana control and not to push herself before her body recovers. Then I turn and leave. Meanwhile, on top of an abandoned building, a man is tied up, continuously begging for mercy. Before him stands a bald man holding a blade glowing with an eerie light. With a squelch, the next second the tied man goes silent. The bald man is Al from the Faithful Ones organization. His companion beside him is Lisa. At this moment, Lisa receives another assassination mission. The target is Valhalla student Joo-hyuk Kim. The requirement is to eliminate the target during the inter-school tournament in 1 month. The two have learned that students will be thrown into the eye of the Great Forest on the 3rd day. In that case, there will be no instructors in the forest, and the instructors will only monitor with a few drones. When the time comes, they just need to follow Olia, who will have already infiltrated. Time quickly passes. Today is the day of the inter-school tournament. The spectator stands are packed. Even Rodier has come to the scene. A month ago, Rodier asked his father for money. He used this money to commission the Faithful Ones to eliminate Joo-hyuk Kim for him. To ensure absolute success, Rodier specifically commissioned the Faithful Ones Triple Kill to do it. Triple Kill is an assassination squad composed of 3 high-level contractors from the Faithful Ones, highly specialized in assassination. The Faithful Ones replied to Rodier, saying they would eliminate Joo-hyuk Kim during the tournament. Rodier then leaves the scene with his attendant. Soon the tournament host takes the stage and introduces the delegations from each school. First is the White Lotus Society from Country D, second is the Superhero League from Country N, and last is Valhalla from Country B, where I'm from. After introductions, we're sent back to the waiting room to await the match listings. This tournament lasts 3 days. Day 1 is the individual battle. Lee Sang-chul stares silently at the students below. His thoughts are suddenly interrupted by a voice. Lee Sang-chul, long time no see. The speaker is Jack, a senior instructor from the Superhero League. Lee Sang-chul replies indifferently. Long time no see, 3rd place. Jack dismissively responds, our Superhero League will definitely take 1st place. Jack asks, do you know who the current strongest contractor is? Lee Sang-chul naturally knows. It's ROH, known as the Breaker. Jack continues, this year his son Logan enrolled as a freshman and is participating as a student representative. And he's already signed a contract with his father's sanctuary, the Breaker of all barriers. This startles Lee Sang-chul. So he can also use destruction like his father? Jack replies. Though not at his father's level, he can still use some abilities. Soon the 1st round matchup is announced. It's me versus Logan. The rules are simple. Defeat your opponent to win. If a weapon hits a vital spot, the arena system automatically reduces damage. However, the system delivers an electric shock to the attacked area proportional to the attack's strength, so you can still defeat your opponent. This seems designed to help injured bodies recover quickly so they can complete the 3rd day's task. As the host announces the match start, my fist instantly appears before Logan. Unexpectedly, he easily catches it. Logan says disdainfully, you think you're strong? I respond modestly, I think I'm still far from it. Logan stares at me, clenching his fist. Didn't expect you to know. Humility. I easily block and tell him I'm stating a fact. But how long do you plan to hold my fist? With that, I twist my arm forcefully. The tremendous force makes Logan instantly lose his balance. At the same time, I throw a simple, straightforward punch. Smack! It slams into his chest. Logan's figure then slides backward. I remain in my punching stance. That punch didn't knock him down. This Logan is a bit stronger than I expected. Logan stares at me with a solemn expression, golden mana circulating around him. He then concentrates mana in his right palm and strikes at me. I simply tilt my head and dodge. My hair touches his mana and breaks off. I immediately notice this anomaly. I kick Logan to the ground. You dared to break my beautiful hair. It didn't break evenly. Could he be using some kind of destruction ability? Logan clutches his stomach. I only hit his abdomen twice, yet he's nearly unconscious. Even if he uses destruction, it's meaningless if he can't hit me. Now he has only one last method to defeat me. Logan's palm, filled with destruction mana, lightly taps the ground. The ground beneath him shatters with a boom. I don't quite understand why he's smashing the ground. The next second, Logan stomps hard on the ground. Countless fragments fly up. Logan's figure is hidden within them. He thinks that since I can dodge visible attacks, he'll just attack from hiding. The next moment, Logan appears at my side, destruction mana gathering in his palm. I sweep toward his location. This startles Logan. I've already seen through his plan. Suddenly, a brick slaps Logan's face. I ask him, don't you know that using mana makes you detectable? As I finish speaking, I throw a punch. Boom. It smashes into Logan's nose. Logan's figure flies backward. He crashes into the wall behind and loses his fighting ability. Seeing this, Jack is so shocked his mouth hangs open. He didn't expect his school's ace to be defeated like this. I then take over the arena. 1 punch for each White Lotus Society member. 2 punches for each superhero. Soon, everyone from the other schools is swept clean by me alone. Next comes the individual finals. My opponent is Arin Choi from my own school. I scratch my head helplessly. This final match has no real meaning besides deciding rankings. Though I have no interest in victory rewards, I do want to confirm how much Arin's strength has improved. I tell Arin to attack me with full force. The next second, Arin grips the blade at her waist. Instantly, her entire aura transforms dramatically. Immediately after, a draw/crackling with lightning sweeps out horizontally. At the same time, I meet it with a simple, straightforward punch. Boom! The scene before them makes everyone break into a cold sweat. Arin now lies flat on the ground. I already held back considering her injury. Making her slam into the ground was just a spur-of-the-moment decision. Arin's blade suddenly changed trajectory toward my stomach. I just hammered my fist onto her blade, and this was the result. I feel I've grown stronger. With increased mana capacity, just a little infusion produces this kind of effect. And Eren has gotten stronger too. As the first day's tournament ends, Lee Sang-chul calls us together again. Thanks to the system's protection, Eren isn't injured. Lee Sang-chul then explains tomorrow's team battle formation. This is driving me crazy. Tomorrow I still have to waste a day's energy on matches before reaching the eye of the Great Forest. Soon, Lee Sang-chul finishes and reminds us to rest well. He then turns and leaves. At this moment, I catch up and ask if we can immediately proceed to the next task if tomorrow's mission ends early. Hearing this, Lee Sang-chul immediately checks the rulebook. He finally finds 2 exceptions that allow proceeding to the next task. First, if the day's task ends too early, instructors can decide whether to proceed to the next one. Second, if there are problems with the activity location or students are in poor condition, they can transition to the next stage. Hearing this, I ask Lee Sang-chul about that discretion you mentioned, instructor. Would you consider immediately proceeding to the next task? Lee Sang-chul thinks for a moment and says if the team battle ends in the morning, there's no problem proceeding to the next task in the afternoon. I nod. Understood, instructor. See you tomorrow. Turning around, I smile mischievously. I plan to complete the Eye of the Great Forest task all at once tomorrow. I really don't want to waste time now. Time quickly comes to the second day. Today's competition task is the simulated team battle. Because the competition takes place in the deep mountains, the process can only be broadcast via holographic projection. At this moment, Arin and the other 3 have already arrived at the competition site. Only I'm late. Soyeon-yu is getting impatient. When I arrive, Soyeon-yu immediately scolds me. I scratch my head helplessly. To make up for this mistake, let me complete this competition alone. Hearing this, Soyeon-yu freezes. She immediately points at me. Do you understand what team battle means? Because of the individual battle results, the other 2 schools are all watching us. And now you're saying you'll face them alone? She turns to ask Sayoko and the others if they have objections, but they're clearly pretending not to hear. I don't waste time talking and just turn to leave. They can stay here and prepare for entering the Eye of the Great Forest. The match has just begun. The White Lotus Society members are about to set out. I suddenly emerge from the bushes nearby. These 2 girls freak out when they see it's me, shouting, "It's that guy from Valhalla! Get ready for battle!" Their reaction speed is faster than I expected. Soon the announcement of White Lotus Society's elimination comes. This completely surprises Logan. The match has been going for less than 10 minutes. Logan speculates that the Valhalla team must have struck first, worried about being caught in a pincer attack. Soon, a youth on their team senses someone approaching, and it's only one person. This horrifies Logan and the others. After a brief moment of shock, Logan quickly and methodically commands everyone, prepare for battle. The 2 youths continue using mana sensing. The blonde girl sets up an ability enhancement magic circle. The short-haired girl infuses her shield with protective magic, ready to defend against sudden attacks. Logan stands in the center of the formation, destruction mana gathering in both hands. The blonde girl asks in confusion, "It's only one person. Do we really need to go this far?" Logan's expression remains serious. He knows if that person is me, this is absolutely necessary. At this moment, the youth in front responsible for sensing the enemy's position suddenly discovers the mana reaction has disappeared. They speculate I was just scouting nearby and left, but I've already appeared in the large tree beside them. "So you're all here?" Logan hurriedly turns toward my location, just in time to catch my attack with his nose. But you can't blame me. He's the one who stuck his head out to meet it. Logan is taken care of just like that. The short-haired girl hasn't even recovered from the sudden change. My scabbard has already struck her stomach. They realize they were too slow. The blonde girl, coming to her senses, shouts my name while a golden orb condenses in her hand. I don't even get a clear look at what it is before I casually dodge the golden orb. I don't go easy on anyone. I kick her directly in the abdomen. At the same time, the other 2 youths' fists arrive behind me. I sweep my blade smoothly, smashing into their waists. This achieves a double kill in one move. The 5 people I defeated now all lie on the ground, twitching occasionally. Soon the announcement of Superhero League's elimination sounds. Now I can get to the Eye of the Great Forest even faster. Meanwhile, in Valhalla's monitoring room, the host is encountering this situation for the first time. They saw everything clearly in the monitoring room. Strictly speaking, I only used 2.5 minutes to finish the battle. The other 20+ minutes were spent searching for people. The host is somewhat troubled. In this case, today's schedule will have some empty time. At this moment, Lee Sang-chul speaks up to remind him. The rulebook states that if it ends quickly, the next match can proceed. Hearing this, the host naturally has no objections. However, they still need to consult with the other school's instructors. After the instructors' discussion, they unanimously agree to continue to the next match. At this moment in the lounge, we're still waiting for the instructors' discussion results. Soyeon-yu sneaks a glance at me. She didn't expect I would actually finish the team battle alone. Originally, the instructor made her captain. She planned to take the lead and achieve something, but ended up accomplishing nothing. Moreover, she lost to Arin in yesterday's individual battle. She's heard I've been guiding Arin's training. Soyeon-yu feels that even though it hurts her pride, she also wants me to guide her. At this moment, the broadcast sounds. Attention to all school representatives. Tomorrow's final match will start early today at 1 p.m. At this moment, I call out to everyone, telling them that after entering the Eye of the Great Forest, I'll act alone. If there's a situation you can't handle, call out loudly for me. Hearing this, Soyeon-yu is somewhat dissatisfied with me in her heart. But thinking it over, in this final match, as long as we don't get a low score and win, it doesn't matter. At this moment, Soyeon-yu comes beside me, wanting to ask something. I look at her, somewhat puzzled. Do you have something to say, loudmouth? This infuriates Soyeon-yu. She immediately starts yelling again. Arin watches us bicker and murmurs, "The loudmouth is so cute." The scene shifts. We've already arrived at the entrance to the Eye of the Great Forest. Before the match begins, the host describes the labyrinth's conditions. The Eye of the Great Forest is a labyrinth formed by massive trees. The environment inside is unique. It rains all year round. Moreover, Moreover, the monsters inside the labyrinth are low level and won't pose much of a threat. The content of this competition is how to survive in this environment. After 5 hours, the higher your body condition values, the higher your score. Also, during the competition, teams are forbidden from fighting each other. As the entrance gate slowly opens, this perilous competition officially begins. At this moment, in a warehouse inside Valhalla Academy, Al and Lisa have been waiting for a long time. At this time, Olia, one of the faithful ones' triple kill, appears. She then places her hands on their shoulders, dark mana swirling wildly around her. The three then disappear from the spot. Simultaneously, in the monitoring room, all cameras filming the Eye of the Great Forest suddenly malfunction. Lee Sang-chul feels a terrible foreboding. So many cameras couldn't possibly malfunction simultaneously. He immediately brings several instructors to the entrance, but the scene before them makes cold sweat pour down. The entrance has been destroyed. The two guards lie on the ground, their fate unknown. At this moment, the team led by Logan, they're preparing to build a shelter from the rain. Logan tells them to search for materials while he stays to level the ground somewhat. At this moment, a purple-black energy sphere suddenly appears before him. 3 people emerge from it, the faithful one's triple kill. Al stares at Logan with murderous eyes. Joo-hyuk Kim, just hand over your life obediently. Suddenly, the atmosphere becomes awkward, because the person before them isn't Joo-hyuk Kim. Olia can only find people by sensing mana, so she moved toward the strongest mana position. However, they don't plan to let Logan and the others go either. The moment they appear, Logan notices they're using dark mana. As the son of the strongest contractor Ro, he naturally won't disgrace his father's reputation. Logan roars, "You scum have no right to enter." Destruction mana gathers in his hands. As soon as he finishes, Logan launches the first attack at them. With a hiss, Logan's body is pierced by a blade. Another aluminum appears behind him. Logan has no idea when he appeared behind him. When he turns around, he discovers there's still an Al in front of him. Logan doesn't understand why there are 2 identical people. While he's stunned, the Al in front strikes again with his blade. It plunges solidly into Logan's stomach. With a thud, Logan collapses powerlessly to the ground. At this moment, the short-haired girl returning to camp discovers Logan lying on the ground and cries out in shock. Simultaneously, Al grips his blade and charges at her to kill. Meanwhile, I'm still searching for Rona's home in the rainforest. Suddenly, I notice the blonde girl from earlier frozen in place. At the same time, I spot several people lying on the ground, severely injured, and these 3 people who don't belong in this trial. As I walk forward slowly, the blonde girl cries out my name when she sees who's coming. Al stares at me with interest and says, "You came because you heard them shouting, didn't you? How convenient that you've delivered yourself to us." Hearing this, I understand. They came here specifically to kill me. I tell the blonde girl to quickly stop their bleeding. I'll handle these guys. Logan and the others are still alive. It's obvious these guys didn't go for the kill just now. They deliberately wanted Logan and the others to bleed out. That's absolutely disgusting. I glare at them with furrowed brows and say, "I'm really pissed off right now. You'll answer whatever I ask." Al stares at me mockingly and says, "You don't seem to understand your situation. We've already destroyed the entrance to this place. The surveillance drones too. It'll probably take an hour to clear everything up." Hearing this makes me furious. I went through so much trouble to get in early, and now I only have 1 hour left to search. Seeing me muttering to myself, Al decides to stop wasting time. In an instant, he and his clone attack me simultaneously. Both his strikes miss. I've already vanished from where I was standing. Al is shocked beyond belief. He didn't even see where I went. Right now, I've already appeared beside him, my scabbard aimed at him. I won't let any of these 3 get away. This strike directly breaks Al's nose. The powerful force sends him flying backward 2.5 meters. Then he crashes heavily to the ground. The other 2 haven't even recovered from seeing Al get sent flying. I've already silently appeared behind them. 2 loud thuds as I strike their heads. Both take the heavy blows, their eyes rolling back as they lose consciousness. Then they slide 2.5 meters across the ground, coming to rest level with Al. I urge the blonde girl, quickly use your mana to stop Logan and the others bleeding. If you can't do it alone, go west and find Valhalla students to help. The girl doesn't go. Instead, she plans to save whoever she can. At this moment, Al, who's been unconscious for a while, wakes up. Looking at his equally unconscious teammates, he has no idea what happened. I walk up to him, looking down at him from above and say, "Answer my questions if you don't want to die. Who sent you to kill me?" Al remains stubborn. "We're professional assassins. We would never reveal who hired us." At the same time, his clone appears behind me, about to ambush me. Little does he know, I've already sensed it and dodge casually. Now Al completely panics. He didn't expect me to dodge because his clone has no presence when attacking. I furrow my brows. This bald guy keeps trying sneak attacks from behind. Then with an upward swing, I obliterate his clone. At this moment, Al finds another opportunity to ambush me. I slam an elbow strike directly into his face. I ask him again, "Who ordered you to kill me?" This bald guy is practically in tears from my beating, but he still won't tell me. Then my aura suddenly changes. Then I'll have no choice but to beat you without holding back. Bang! This strike sends Al flying. An hour later, the instructors finally arrive. Right now, Valhalla students are treating Logan and the others' injuries. Fortunately, no students died. Then Logan recounts what happened. Based on Logan's description, Lee Sang-chul guesses it might be the Faithful One's triple kill and urgently asks about their location. Logan points into the distance. They're over there. Joo-hyuk Kim already dealt with all of them. Al and Lisa are now lying on the ground like dead dogs, completely motionless. The most shocked person right now is undoubtedly Lee Sang-chul. He knew I was strong, but he didn't expect me to single-handedly crush triple kill. Logan is like a deflated balloon. Before he nearly lost consciousness, he vaguely saw me fighting. After being injured by those villains, he had no power to fight back, but I crushed them without any pressure. Only now does he understand that when I fought them, I didn't even reveal half my strength. Logan previously thought he was was already very strong for a student. Now he realizes he was too arrogant. Jack notices Logan seems discouraged and comes to comfort him. Don't be disheartened. There's always someone better. Knowing yourself is more important than anything. Having finished everything, I throw Olia to the ground. I already know everything about who's behind them and their purpose. Seeing that I'm fine, Lee Sang-chul also breathes a sigh of relief. The injured students are all sent to the hospital afterward. This 2-day competition ends with some scares but no real danger. After returning to the dorm, I take a nice hot shower. This day really exhausted me. Fortunately, I got what I wanted. This is all thanks to Triple Kill's Olia. I noticed earlier that her position was at the back. From this, I determined that Olia is very likely a support with special abilities. When I interrogated her, she created a space to try to escape. I intervened and blocked her transmission with the space. At that point, I confirmed her ability can create a subspace, then move the entire space for short-distance teleportation. After a friendly conversation with her, I used her ability to find Rona's home. I also found the spirit orb in a very short time and learned about the forces behind them from her. And the client was indeed that guy Rodier. Although I really want to leak this attack to the media like last time. If the Bentrick family comes to cause trouble again this time, wouldn't that annoy me to death? The urgent priority now is to activate the next task. Ding! The next task activates. Face the lost memories through sleep. This is pretty absurd. I didn't expect I just need to sleep. At the same time, Balchi's task also appears. Recover the lost memories. Lying in bed, I can't fall asleep for a long time. I don't feel like I'm missing any memories. Finally, when I fall asleep, I actually see the Tower of Destruction in my dream. In the dream, I'm barely alive, leaning against a wall. Lying in front of me is the already dead tower Lord Balchi. After I completely lose consciousness and die, a black figure appears before me. He stares at my corpse and says, "Then I'll take your name, and I'll also take the name of the world you protected." As the black shadow disappears, the entire Tower of Destruction begins to collapse. At the same time, I wake up startled from my sleep. I don't understand why I had that dream. I don't know if what I just saw really happened, or if this is my lost memory. I ask Balche if he recovered his memories. Balche thinks for a while and answers, "I think I used to be a tiger." This leaves me speechless. I ask some other questions, but Balche can't remember anything else. What puzzles me is, didn't Balche see that mysterious figure in the dream? Maybe he was already killed by me at that point. There are no other gains this time, just a fragmentary memory. What does it mean when that black shadow said he took my name? At this moment, the system pops up a prompt telling me to go to the Aharla Grand Palace office and witness the truth with my own eyes. Maybe this could be the last time. I'll ask the beautiful instructor about the location of Aharla Grand Palace after school tomorrow. Right now, I'm training my stamina in the training room. Seyuk-oh is also here working out. Then Soyeon-yu arrives. She's somewhat surprised that Seyuk-oh is here. Seyuk-oh asks her back why she's here. Soyeon-yu scratches her face awkwardly. "Same as you, I also want guidance from Joo-hyuk Kim." Seyuk-oh states that he came to train alone. It has nothing to do with him. Seyuk-oh also guesses that Soyeon-yu wants my guidance because she lost to Arin Choi in the previous competition. Soyeon-yu is startled. She didn't expect Seyuk-oh to guess so accurately, but Soyeon-yu honestly admits it. In her previous battle with Arin Choi, Soyeon-yu leaped high and launched the first attack. Her consecutive slashes were easily blocked by Arin Choi. Then Soyeon-yu infused mana into her long blade. With a horizontal slash, a purple blade aura shot straight toward Arin Choi. Arin Choi raised her long blade above her head. With one strike, she split the incoming blade aura in half. Soyeon-yu's expression became serious. She infused even more mana into her blade. With one swing, 3 purple blade auras appeared simultaneously. The blade auras slashed toward Arin Choi from 3 different directions. Only the sound of a blade being drawn could be heard. At the same time, Arin Choi's aura suddenly changed, lightning surging around her body. A draw slash met the 3 incoming blade auras head-on. Soyeon-yu was shocked. She couldn't believe Arin Choi blocked all 3 of her blade auras with one move. While she was distracted, Arin Choi had already appeared in front of her, gripping her long blade. Then she struck Soyeon-yu's shoulder with one slash. In an instant, Soyeon-yu fell to the ground, losing her combat ability. She clearly felt that Arin Choi's strength had grown significantly since enrollment. She believes it's all because of my guidance. Soyeon-yu makes up her mind to keep asking until I agree, no matter how embarrassed she feels. Then she gathers her courage and approaches me. I watch her action somewhat confused. Then Soyeon-yu stammers, "Can you guide me the same way you guide Arin Choi?" Before she finishes speaking, Lee Sang-chul suddenly appears. "Joo-hyuk Kim, get yourself together and come see me. Someone wants to meet you." And they earnestly said if they don't see you now, they'll never get to see you. This makes me very curious about who wants to see me. Then I walk straight ahead, leaving Soyeon-yu standing there alone, staring at me blankly. Right now, Soyeon-yu is going crazy. For someone as strong-willed as her to say such things took great determination. Then my voice calls out, "Hey, if you also want to train together, ask Arin Choi about the training method and practice with her. If you can keep up with the training, maybe I'll want to guide you later. Right now, I urgently want to know who this person is that wants to see me." I didn't expect it to be Rodier. After seeing me, Rodier drops to his knees with a thud, begging me to save him. I ask Lee Sang-chul in confusion why he's begging me. It turns out Rodier hired villain organizations to assassinate me twice. Somehow the media found out about this. Now all the news is reporting that the villains who attacked the selection were hired by Rodier. But this guy Rodier has his family backing him. He shouldn't need to beg me. Lee Sang-chul slowly speaks. The Bentrick family just issued a statement expelling Rodier from the family, including his father and the entire branch family. So unlike last time, the Bentrick family has no intention of blocking the media this time. And Rodier came to beg you because he wants you to speak up for him, to prove this has nothing to do with him. That way, he won't have to go to prison. I won't pity him. Someone like him should be punished. This makes Rodier desperate, tears and snot running down his face, begging on his knees and promising he'll never come after me again, even offering money as compensation. I stare at him coldly and say, I don't need your apology, and I definitely don't need your money. Hearing this, Rodier suddenly grabs the maid beside him. How about this woman? She's a direct bloodline of the Paris family from country Y. I can give this woman to you. The scene makes even the calm and composed Lee Sang-chul angry. I glare at Rodier with furrowed brows and shout coldly, how can you treat a person as an object to give away? Rodier says insanely, right now, this woman is my property. Then he grabs the maid's hair and makes me look at her neck. On her neck is a glowing curse mark. Lee Sang-chul frowns. He recognizes this as a type of restriction at a glance. It's a type of taming type curse. People with this restriction cannot disobey their master's commands. Moreover, ordinary contractors can't break this kind of curse at all. This inhuman beast Rodier actually put a curse on a person. I say coldly, there used to be people like you, they would put restrictions on people and then trade them. I killed them later. Then I reach out and place my hand on the restriction on the girl's neck. Then lightning mana surges through my hand as I grab the restriction on the girl's neck. With a ripping sound, I tear the restriction out with brute force, and the girl is completely freed from this moment on. Right now, I say with a dark expression, Instructor, can I beat him up? Lee Sang-chul states that fighting is prohibited within the school. However, he can pretend he didn't see anything. Hearing this, the blonde punk is completely terrified. How can an instructor say something like this? The next moment, I don't give him any time to react, raising my fist to strike down. After my punch lands, it sends him flying through the air. I beat him until he's lying on the ground with his eyes rolling back. After beating up the blonde punk, I leave. However, at this moment, that girl from earlier suddenly chases after me. She came specifically to thank me. I was a bit dazed in that situation earlier, so I didn't get to thank you. Then she bows to me. Thank you for saving me just now. I scratch my head. No need to thank me. You'll have to rely on yourself from now on. The girl is so moved she's breaking down in tears, almost wanting to cry. And as a Sigma male, I have no intention of comforting her. I just tell her to take care of herself. The next day after school, I come to the Valhalla Internal Cafe again. The instructor eats her dessert while saying to me, a Harla Grand Palace is in Country D. This is what I asked her to investigate before. But to be precise, it should be in the White Lotus Society's dungeon in Country D. I don't know much about this White Lotus Society. It seems to be the academy that participated in the school competition. The instructor nods. That's right, it's the academy you mentioned. This makes me fall into thought. So that's the White Lotus Society's dungeon. As far as I know, unlike before, if you enter someone else's dungeon without permission now, it's illegal. But what I don't understand is why this dungeon ownership system exists. There was no such thing before. Dungeons were places anyone could freely enter and exit. Although I'm confident I can break into the dungeon alone, it's an academy-owned dungeon. Forcing my way in wouldn't be good. Then I ask the instructor if there's a way to enter. The instructor raises her palm with 3 fingers up. Her meaning is simple. Give her 3 pieces of information, and she'll tell me the confidential information. Seeing this, I immediately stand up to leave. I won't be manipulated by a woman. Now the instructor suddenly panics and hurriedly tells me to sit down. Seeing the instructor's good attitude, I return to my seat. Since you want to tell me so badly, I'll reluctantly listen. The instructor first says to me quietly, this is confidential. You absolutely cannot spread it outside. Then she begins narrating. The school competition is a 3-way contest between our country, Country D, and Country N. The world competition is as grand as the Olympics, where academies from all over the world gather to compete. Hearing this, I generally understand. In other words, it's an upgraded version of the school competition. This will be even harder to deal with. I have a method on my side, but I don't know if it will work. But before that, you must agree to one condition. That is to go with me to the World Monster Research Association. Just one day. No need to worry about anything else. 20 hours later, we arrive at the World Monster Research Association. I'm very dissatisfied. She clearly told me it would only take one day. Now we've flown to L City. Only now do I realize that the one day she mentioned meant one day to get here. But since I'm already here, there's nothing I can do. I can only go in and take a look. However, there's one thing I still want to know. What exactly does she want me to do? A moment later, I'm arranged to fight a boar monster. Outside the window, a group of old men look at the reports in their hands. It turns out the instructor wants me to help verify the feasibility of her thesis. And this feasibility is about the method I told her for capturing monsters. The next moment, I swing lightly and kill the monster projection with one strike. What annoys me is there's actually another monster waiting for me to verify. An hour later, I collapse on the sofa. I suddenly feel the instructor's verification is so annoying. But during the verification just now, I discovered something. When we entered here, everyone looked at us with cold, sidelong glances. The instructor takes a sip of tea and says unhurriedly, the reason is simple. We just feel awkward with each other, because their monster strategy guides have been established for decades. I suddenly appeared and directly refuted them with a thesis. Of course, I'll be treated differently. And the reason she called me here is because the association won't cooperate with her at all. Those stubborn old fools extremely hate having their theories refuted. Monster strategy guide theses are their important means of elevating status and power. The association is now completely controlled by these people who hold positions of power. They're all in cahoots with each other. But for the sake of putting the thesis into practice, she can only endure these cold looks. After clearing up my confusion, I tell the instructor she should help me too. At this moment, the instructor suddenly smiles. It seems we came at the right time. She's here as expected, and this person is the White Lotus Society's leader the instructor mentioned. The instructor heard she often comes to the association. She just saw her. At this moment, a knock on the door interrupts our conversation. A woman arrives. She unceremoniously pushes open the door and walks in. And when when I see who it is, I'm stunned. The White Lotus Society's leader smiles slightly. Hello, I'm the leader of the White Lotus Society. My name is Soleon. I also politely greet her. I'm Joo-hyuk Kim. What can I do for you? It turns out she came specifically to find me. She hopes I can help her deal with someone. Hearing this, I'm stunned. What kind of person requires the leader to ask for my help? At this moment, the instructor slowly stands up. She doesn't want to hear what comes next, so she plans to find an excuse to slip away. The leader silently praises, "This woman is quite perceptive." At this point, I say bluntly, "Just tell me in detail who you want me to deal with." Although she currently serves as the leader of the White Lotus Society, she's also a member of the Seol family. The Seol family was the first family established in Country D after the Age of Destruction, so their family rapidly expanded, established the White Lotus Society Academy, and trained large numbers of excellent contractors. In her generation, a genius appeared in the Seol family. At a young age, she easily defeated many contractors. Even her sister and members of the family alliance, the Snow Wolf Alliance, were trampled under her feet. Not only that, the Seol family head was also defeated by that genius. In the end, she felt there was no one outside who was her match, so she's been staying in the training room and won't come out. The purpose of coming to find me this time is to have me spar with her and let her know there's always someone better. I don't really care about this, but I'm still a bit surprised. After all, besides me, there are many powerful people who could help you. Why did you specifically seek me out? I raise my hand and point at her, asking, "From your mana, I can tell your strength is definitely not weak. Why don't you do it yourself?" The leader chuckles. "Student Joo-hyuk Kim, you're really observant. It's actually simple. Because she and that child aren't the same age. Even if she wins, that child won't accept it. So when she saw my performance in the entrance ranking battle, she thought of this plan. She must thoroughly beat that girl to make her understand her place in the world. That's why she found me today. The purpose is to have me dampen her arrogance." After hearing her words, I smile. "I generally understand what you mean, but you don't think I'll help you for free, do you?" The leader, who understands social norms well, certainly knows this. How could she let someone help her for free? At this moment, I raise my hand to interrupt her. "If you're going to offer me money, forget it. Right now, I need to enter a place. Can you grant me access there?" That afternoon, we head to the White Lotus Society. We've now arrived in Country D. I didn't expect the leader to be such a decisive woman. She just commissioned me this morning, and this afternoon she's already brought me to Country D to begin the task. At this moment, she asks me about what I didn't finish saying earlier. "Hurry up and tell me what your compensation is." I speak bluntly, directly wanting to mention the matter of access rights to a Harla Grand Palace. What I didn't expect is the leader agrees instantly. After all, that's their managed dungeon. This condition isn't difficult. After entering, a bunch of people stare at me. After all, someone personally brought in by the leader must be extraordinary. A sly smile appears on the leader's face. It's also time to put that girl in her place. Otherwise, she really doesn't know her place in the world. I scratch my head indicating I understand. I hope that girl is a formidable opponent. Otherwise, it'll be too boring. Soon we arrive in front of the magic circle. As long as I enter this magic circle, I can be transported to the secret training room. At this moment, I remember a question, so I ask, "What's the name of that genius you mentioned?" The leader chuckles. "Her name is Yeonrang. Although her name is quite wild, she's a girl with a fang." Yeonrang glares at me fiercely. "Did Soleon send you to persuade me to leave the White Lotus Palace? Get out, she'll never leave the White Lotus Palace." Hearing her words, I smile. This is clearly our first meeting, yet you're telling me to get out? Then my toes quietly exert force. The next moment, my figure suddenly disappears. When I reappear, I'm already in front of Yeonrang. "It's simple if you want me to get out. You just need to beat me." After speaking, I throw a punch without hesitation. However, this punch's assault is easily blocked by Yeonrang with one hand. I can't help but exclaim, "This little girl really isn't simple." Then a red mana vortex condenses in Yeonrang's palm. Yeonrang steps forward and the mana in her hand strikes heavily on my chest. She curses loudly, "Idiot! She's seen too many arrogant guys like you. Don't you even check your opponent's strength before you dare to rush up like this?" However, I act like nothing happened. "Are you introducing yourself?" This time it's Yeonrang's turn to be stunned. She didn't expect anyone to take her attack and still be so calm. I don't wait for her to react. I grab her wrist with one hand. My fighting technique is quite dangerous, but it can also lock down the opponent's movements. My fist is already charging up. Seeing this, Yeonrang quickly raises her hand to block, because she knows she can't dodge this punch. Crack! Our two arms clash. Just this brief contact shocks Yeonrang. How does this guy have such monstrous strength? So she quickly retreats, keeping her distance from me first. At this point, she starts taking this seriously, asking, "Who exactly are you?" My words and actions are very flippant. I beckon her with my finger. "If you beat me, I'll tell you. But I can tell you first, I'm just a student." My words just now made her feel disrespected. She attacks with an axe kick. After I dodge, she immediately opens her palm. Yeonrang's claws attack rapidly, but I still dodge by sidestepping. Now Yeonrang is getting unsettled. She feels like every attack is being predicted by me. She can't hit me at all. At this moment, Yeonrang's eyes look at me in disbelief, because she just saw me seemingly take a step back, and my hand has already started forming a fist, as if planning to counterattack. So she doesn't hesitate anymore, and immediately retreats. She must keep her distance from me first. What Yeonrang didn't expect is my speed is above hers. With one step, I keep up with her movement. Then that power-charged fist strikes heavily on her abdomen. I praise her immensely in my heart. This little girl's combat talent is really strong. It turns out Yeonrang retreated just now because she knew she couldn't dodge my attack, so retreating could buffer over 30% of my force. The more I look at this white-haired girl, the more I like her. I deliberately let her hit me with one punch just now. From that moment, I felt that 300 years ago, almost none of my disciples at her age could reach such strong abilities. Yeonrang breaks out in cold sweat. With this kind of strength, is he really just a student? Most importantly, he's actually the same age as her. In other words, similar in age. yet she's being suppressed by him. But the more it's like this, the more interested Yeonrang becomes. She thinks I'm much more interesting than those old folks. So Yeonrang assumes a fighting stance again. She wants to fight me even more intensely. Seeing Yeonrang's rekindled confidence, I wonder whether to dampen her pride a bit more. Meanwhile, our battle is being watched by the leader. Few people know that the leader actually lost to Yeonrang when she fought her before. The leader doesn't really hold much hope that I can beat Yeonrang. She just wants her to clearly know that a student can fight her to this extent, proving there are many experts outside, rather than secluding herself in a small room to train alone. And my identity is just right. First, I'm a student. Second, I've captured villains and was a major contributor to our school winning first place in the competition. So even if I fight Yeonrang, it's impossible for me to easily lose to her. Meanwhile, Yeonrang charges at me again. She opens both her hands while charging. Just as Yeonrang is about to reach me, she attacked with crossed hands, but I dodge with a crouch. However, as if Yeonrang predicted this, her knee is already approaching my face. This move of Yeonrang solidly hits my face. This makes her smile. I finally hit you, but Yeonrang quickly reacts. She feels a faint stinging pain in her knee. The next second, a piercing scream echoes through the entire room. Is your head made of stone? How can it be harder than my knee? I chuckle. Isn't that a stupid question? Just in that instant, I saw her knee attacking me, so I headbutted her. Compared to her protruding kneecap, of course my forehead is harder. At this moment, Yeonrang is already discouraged, because no matter how she attacks, I dodge. Although saying this hurts her pride, she knows my physical abilities are indeed above hers. Then she says to me, just now we weren't using mana. Now we have no restrictions. I say oh indifferently. Then start using mana now. Let me see how strong your mana is. The next moment, an extremely powerful aura bursts out. Red glowing mana radiates from Yeonrang's body. That visible mana is somewhat alarming to see. Only by using her full strength like this does she have a chance of defeating me. Well, it seems this little girl's pride has already been damaged. You want to gather all your mana, right? If that's the case, then I won't hide either. I also burst out all my mana at this moment. Yeonrang freezes. She's completely stunned, because the mana on my body is like surging river water, endless and continuous, with no end in sight. Yeonrang curses silently, "Madman, is this really the power a student can possess?" At this moment, Yeonrang heavily stamps her foot. Right now she doesn't need any battle plan. She just needs one lethal strike. While running, she immediately condenses all her mana into her fist. Boom! Yeonrang's fist is incredibly fast, quickly reaching in front of me. Yeonrang thinks to herself that as long as this punch can hit him, she can definitely win this battle. Just when she's about to think her fist is going to hit me, I dodge her attack with an unusual posture. However, next it's my turn to counterattack. I quickly straighten up, and that fist strikes heavily on Yeonrang's abdomen. That punch directly makes Yeonrang's eyes roll back white, mumbling incoherently, seemingly calling me a monster. Then with a thud, she drops to her knees on the ground. The leader and her bodyguard are both stunned. They didn't expect such a powerful Yeonrang to be defeated by him so quickly. A moment later, I carry Yeonrang out of the secret chamber like a kitten. Now, I've fulfilled the leader's request by beating up Yeonrang and bringing her out. The leader's face is clearly unsettled. She didn't expect I could really bring her out. At first, she just wanted to dampen her arrogance. Then the leader asks if I'm injured. I say I'm fine anyway, not sure if she's injured. Next, she asks if Yeonrang is seriously injured. She's quite concerned about Yeonrang's injuries. I release my hand and drop Yeonrang's body on the ground. She's indeed strong enough, but her last move really disappointed me. She can be better refined in the future. This drop directly wakes Yeonrang up. When she sees Sulyeon's face, she shows a disgusted expression. Sulyeon doesn't care about her and says, "Long time no see, Yeonrang." However, for reminiscing, the leader still wants to do it later. There's still one thing to do now. That's the matter of your compensation. You want access rights to Harla Grand Palace. I respond with a light, It's best to let me in soon. The leader says it's fine. If you're in a hurry, I can take you there now. Hearing this, I smile. Having power is really nice. After that, the leader takes me to a Harla Grand Palace. At this moment, Yeonrang asks the butler behind her, "What's that man's name just now? What does he do?" The butler responds, "He's called Joo-hyuk Kim. He's a student." Yeonrang immediately breaks into a smile. I dare say in the entire world that Joo-hyuk Kim's combat power is absolutely the strongest. If there's a chance later, she still wants to fight me again. Even if she gets beaten, she's willing to spar with such an expert. Soon I arrive at a Harla Grand Palace. However, what surprises me is the scene before me doesn't look like a dungeon at all. The leader told me before that a Harla Grand Palace is an extremely special dungeon. It looks like a castle. I just need to watch out for monsters called living armor, and then exploring won't be a problem. I don't really care about this. After all, nothing can stop me. I just want to know how long I can stay inside. After learning I can only stay inside for 5 hours, I think it should be enough. If it's not enough, I can come again tomorrow. And next is to battle those armored warriors. I see in front of me a swarm of armored warriors waiting for me to defeat. An armored warrior suddenly swings its sword at me. At the same time, I grab my weapon and prepare to counterattack. With one strike, I cut the armor in half at the waist. After dealing with the armor, I let out a long breath. These armored warriors are even weaker than I imagined. In just 2.5 minutes, I've destroyed all the armored warriors. I look at those rooms and they all seem quite ordinary. I'm not sure if the secret vault is really here. Then I glance up and see a door on the right. This door looks very luxurious. It should be the office. Without hesitation, I push the door open and enter. Inside, I see an old man, but it's just a painting. It does look somewhat like an office, but I doubt whether this is really Arivdri's office. It doesn't quite seem right. Then I notice words written below the portrait, Arivdri Johnny. This makes me curious about how he can read these words. But he says he's not sure how he can read them either. Perhaps he saw related information when he recovered some of his memories last time. I chuckle. It looks like we've come to the right place. Now we just need to find the secret vault. At this moment, I raise my fist. If I search carefully, it'll definitely take a long time. Bang! I smash everything to smithereens. This way, the search will definitely be faster. Moments later, everything has been destroyed by me. I see a door beneath a mechanism. It seems to be what I'm looking for. After opening the door, there's a long corridor below. I didn't expect this room to be built so intricately. System notification: successfully entered Arivdri's secret vault. I have met the conditions. Suddenly, I widen my eyes in disbelief, staring ahead. Right in front of me, a red-haired sorceress sits there. I ask her who she is and where this place is. The woman chuckles. "You really are rude. Since you've come here, can't you sit down and listen to me slowly?" After hearing her words, I sit down. I'd like to hear what she has to say. The woman introduces herself. She's called the Guide. This name confuses me. Don't you have any other name? Yes, the woman actually has a name, but that name was taken away by someone. This reminds me of what that dark figure said. "Then I'll take your name." I originally thought this woman was the one who told me they'd take my name. So the question is, who exactly is that dark figure, and what does it mean to take someone's name? The woman slowly says, "A so-called name is one's power. Because all living beings accumulate everything in their names. Names contain all behavioral traces, including efforts and achievements that impact the outside world. Whether good deeds or evil deeds, the greater the achievement, the more is accumulated. So names with great accumulated achievements possess tremendous energy. That person takes names with powerful strength and absorbs the power accumulated within them." This shocks me. I've never heard of such an ability before. What happens to people whose names are taken? People whose names are taken still remain in that world. They're now called sanctuaries. So after having your name stolen, you become a sanctuary. But because I'm someone who has been reborn, I've become an exception. Well, she indeed knows about my rebirth, just like Balche. The woman looked at me mockingly. "Don't tell me you suspect me? Suspect that I'm the one who made you reborn?" Then she says she also has a notification window. That's how she learned about me. After hearing her words, I tell her to stop stalling and quickly explain who exactly that person in the Tower of Destruction was. The one who said they'd take my name. Actually, that dark figure is called the Maze Master. As the guide just said, their purpose is to send the Tower of Destruction to mazes, cultivate names with high achievements, and thereby obtain power. This strikes me as very strange. Isn't she just a maze master? How could she bring the Tower of Destruction to Earth? That kind of thing should only be possible in a maze she manages. Suddenly, I widen my eyes. I finally figured some things out. The guide chuckles. "You're only just realizing now? The world you're in, called Earth, is itself a maze." Upon learning this, I'm utterly shocked. The guide stares directly at me. Whether you believe it or not is up to you, but having come this far, there's no need for me to lie to you. Thinking about it, she's right. You mean that person sent the Tower of Destruction to Earth to cultivate so-called names? So when destruction-level crises occur, achievements can easily be accumulated in names? Because during this time, one can defeat monsters, save villages, or take advantage of crises to commit evil deeds. All of these can increase achievements. Therefore, not everyone whose name is taken can become a sanctuary. Only those whose achievements reach a certain level are qualified to become sanctuaries. In that case, my disciples might also qualify. At least in the final period, they all made quite a name for themselves. This makes me very angry. No matter what we do, we can't escape the Maze Master's control. The guide disagrees. After your rebirth, you've come all this way. To that person, you're a variable. If we plan carefully, we might be able to make the Maze Master suffer a loss they can't speak of. However, I think they should know about my rebirth. They're also the one who made us meet through the notification window. The guide shakes her head repeatedly. No. The one who made you reborn and sent the notification window for us to meet is not the Maze Master. Then, if it's not the Maze Master, who is it? Who has such great ability to make me reborn? To this, the guide says she doesn't know. With her current power, she simply can't investigate everything behind it all. However, since they made you reborn, I guess this person should have some connection to you. Then she gathers mana in both hands and a ball of light appears at her chest. Moments later, that ball of light transforms into a gray ring. I reach out to take the ring and ask what it's for. I don't have much time to explain in detail right now. Simply put, this is the key to our counterattack. I tell her not to rush off. You're right in front of me anyway. Whatever it is, just explain it clearly. But it turns out that although she's still here talking to me, she's being hunted, and the one hunting her is the Maze Master. But it's fine. You've already met the conditions. It'll be easy to see me in the future. Then she snaps her fingers and says goodbye. We'll meet again in 2 days. Don't lose the ring. Snap! With the snap of her fingers, the guide completely disappears before my eyes. The moment the guide disappears, I appear at the entrance. It seems she teleported me out. I snort coldly. I finally found the one responsible. First sending the Tower of Destruction, then stealing names, the culprit who's preventing me from living lavishly. I originally wanted to coast through this life, but that damned Maze Master just won't let me have my way. Although I don't know what this ring is, it probably isn't an item that directly makes me stronger. Before the competition, I absorbed some mana and had some storage stones left over. This time I'm going to absorb them all. Although this won't increase my strength, I believe at least my mana quantity can almost reach its peak level. For me, that's enough. Meanwhile, on a small island in the North Pacific, a man sits on a sofa watching the news. His trembling hands show he's very nervous and angry because the news displays assassination organization triple kill, repelled by Valhalla student Joo-hyuk Kim. Crack! The tablet in his hand is crushed to pieces. He is Hannibal, the leader of the faithful ones. After being taught a lesson by a sanctuary before, he's been carefully observing Joo-hyuk Kim. Later he learned that Choi Jin-gyum, who signed a temporary contract with the sanctuary, was dealt with by him. So when he received the commission from that person from the Bentrick family's branch line, he felt it was somewhat unprofitable. But in order to completely eliminate Joo-hyuk Kim, he assigned the task to triple kill. However, not only were they crushed by their opponent, they also revealed they were from the faithful ones. Can they even be called a professional assassination organization? They have no assassin professionalism at all. At this moment, a voice sounds. Hannibal, you seem quite troubled. The person who came is Georgie, the leader of first-class breed. He can completely understand Hannibal's feelings. They've had the same experience, losing a useful chess piece because of Joo-hyuk Kim. Hannibal knows this too. It seems to be Desera, who was reported in the news. He accepted a commission privately without reporting to the organization. Not only did he fail to complete the mission, he also revealed his entire identity to a student. Georgie originally planned to use him as an informant for the Bentrick family, but fearing information leaks, he personally eliminated Desera before he was sent to detention. At this moment, Hannibal speaks. Can you help me eliminate Triple Kill who are being transferred? Georgie agrees on the spot. Since it's your commission, I must accept, Hannibal says somewhat unwillingly. Besides that, help me deal with Joo-hyuk Kim while you're at it. At this, Georgie says in a deep voice, I advise you not to touch Joo-hyuk Kim. The heresy has already set their sights on him. You don't need to make a move at all. Hannibal is completely stunned. He didn't expect the heresy to make a move. Aren't they a gathering of lunatics? Although it's somewhat inappropriate for us as villains to say this, they really are all lunatics. No one knows what their beliefs are or what their purpose is. Logan's predecessor was also eliminated by those people. Hannibal hopes this incident will be very successful. There can't be any more accidents. Meanwhile, I'm surrounded by a group of people in black. They don't look friendly. I speak up and ask, who exactly are you people? You should know this is inside Valhalla Academy. What gives you the nerve? The man's cheeks are slightly sweating. Time rewinds to one day ago. He reports to the family head that everything is ready. The woman before him is Adriana Bentrick, the head of the Bentrick family. You've taken quite a while to prepare. The man says, I apologize. To make thorough preparations, it did take some effort. During this time, we found many contractors with spatial distortion abilities. Additionally, the people who will directly eliminate the target are all members of the Bentrick family. There won't be any information leaks. Adriana praises him. You've done very well, but besides these preparations, have you prepared what I asked you about before? The man says everything is prepared. To complete the sanctification, a large amount of storage stones have been prepared. Seeing this, Adriana shows a satisfied smile. In that case, it's time for me to take action as well. She immediately orders the butler to stay with the target elimination team first. Once the subspace portal is complete, you'll lead the target elimination team. However, the butler is somewhat puzzled. Is it really necessary to summon a sanctuary? Hearing this, Adriana shows a displeased expression. What do you mean by that? Don't tell me you think summoning a sanctuary to deal with a student is going too far, that it makes me look scared? The man hastily says he doesn't have that thought. This calms Adriana's anger somewhat. I'm just being cautious. You don't need to worry about that. There's also the fact that the sanctuary has always been silent, but recently suddenly reacted to something. Adriana is very concerned about this. If we summon the sanctuary this time, we can ask about this matter. The butler thinks the sanctuary's reaction might be related to Joo-hyuk Kim. He shouts loudly, target elimination team, prepare to isolate the space. The next moment, those people in black press both hands directly on the ground, forming a magic circle. At the same time, the instant their palms touch the ground, a golden light barrier appears around me. I turn my head and look. I can tell at a glance this is subspace, but I'm not worried at all. Only a fool would think of dealing with a student inside the academy. This suddenly interests me. I want to know who exactly that fool is. Is it the head of the Bentrick family? Hearing this, the man is greatly shocked. He didn't expect him to guess the mastermind of this plan. The man's voice is ice cold. How exactly did you know? I laugh heartily. What's so hard about that? Among those I've made enemies with, there are 2 villain organizations that use dark mana, and only 1 enemy who doesn't use dark mana. So who else could it be besides the Bentrick family? As I speak, I take off my backpack. I'm preparing for a big fight. After discovering he's been exposed, the man doesn't panic. Since you found out, we don't need to hide anymore. He tells the people behind him, call the target elimination team over. In just an instant, many people are teleported over. The next second, I'm directly surrounded by them. Don't you people feel ashamed to deal with 1 student? You've brought this many people? To this, the man raises the long blade in his hand. None of that matters because we only follow the family head's orders. I wave my hand. It seems those families of yours really have no shame. The man stops arguing with me and directly tells the people behind him, go and take him down. In an instant, everyone rushes at me with swords, spears, blades, and axes. Everything. However, I'm not panicked at all. Instead, I'm interested. The next moment, I suddenly release my mana and send them all flying. The butler seizes the opportunity to swing his sword, but in my eyes, this attack isn't worth mentioning at all. After retreating 3 steps, I start taunting him again. That sword swing of yours was like a child playing. Just as my words fall, 2 people suddenly appear above my head, preparing to ambush me. Clang! However, after their swords fall, I've already disappeared from that spot. Then I leap high and make a kicking motion. With 1 kick, I directly knock over 2 people. I've already figured it out. These people's tactic is a rotating battle, absolutely not giving me any space to rest. At this moment, the butler hides in the shadows. He wants to catch me off guard with a fatal blow, but his attack has no lethality to me at all. I dodge it with just a slight sidestep. The man is incredibly shocked. Is this really the strength the student can possess? At this moment, I've had enough fun and prepare to start my counterattack. I flick my hand and press my scabbard directly against his chest. Then I show an extremely evil smile and exert force heavily with my left hand. With just 1 strike, I send the man flying. This strike is no ordinary one. I secretly added magical power to the scabbard, penetrating his entire chest. The man's eyes roll back from my strike. Before, he was wondering why so many people were needed to deal with one student, but now he finally understands he was wrong. As his consciousness fades, he finally recalls that the family head's judgment was correct. This Joo-hyuk Kim absolutely cannot be left alive. Crash. The man falls directly to the ground, his consciousness already lost. However, precisely because of the man's fall, the mastermind appears, the head of the Bentrick family. I've been waiting here for you for quite a while. She glances indifferently at the butler lying on the ground. Most members of the target elimination team, including the butler, are much stronger than ordinary contractors, but I didn't expect them to be so helpless before this student. Then she slowly draws the sword in her hand. It seems there's only one method left. She says to me, "You can be proud of this, because you will witness a scene ordinary people could never see in their lifetime. The Bentrick family's sacred relic." I look at her words with utter contempt. I should feel proud just for seeing that short sword? Is this what a family head who lost their dignity by sending a group to gang up on one student should say? The family head curses and charges at me. "You trash. I will definitely kill you today." At this moment, the storage stone beside the butler suddenly moves. The next moment, that storage stone suddenly glows with golden light and floats in the air. Not just the butler's, all the storage stones on everyone present light up with golden light. This greatly surprises the family head. What's going on with these storage stones? What exactly is happening? Then something even more surprising happens. The short sword also lights up with golden light. At this moment, the family head finally reacts. Could this reaction be caused by the sanctuary? From that ball of golden light emerges an interface window. This symbol represents speechlessness. The next moment, the interface window says uncertainly, "Is it, Master?" Everyone present cannot move their bodies. What puzzles the family head is why I'm not affected at all and can move freely here. I turn my head and look around, still not understanding what's happening. After feeling that her body can't move, the family head suddenly thinks, could the sanctification have been forcibly activated? She glances behind her. Currently, only her and my consciousness are awake. However, she can't move, but the other team members' bodies and consciousness are in a state of stasis. I slowly step forward and touch that small dagger. So this is the sacred relic? And what does this interface window in front of me mean? She called me Master. Could this be one of my disciples from my previous life? Just then, a golden light suddenly appears at my side, slowly condensing into human form. Moments later, the entire body appears. It's a mysterious person wearing glasses and a crow mask. Judging from her height, she seems to be a girl. After removing her mask, she reveals a flawless face and calls out to me, "Master, this girl seems a bit nervous, with sweat on her cheeks. Has Master already forgotten me? But how would she know?" The moment I saw her, I remembered. I remember when I first saw her, she was still a slave. At that time, this little one's eyes attracted me, but I felt she seemed to hate everyone in this world. The girl's voice speaks coldly. "Don't act like you know me so well. Do you even know who I am?" Although I don't know the whole story, I know roughly. Because I was once a slave too. This shocks the girl a bit. I slowly say, "I remember when I was little, because I was too weak, I was kidnapped by slave traders. After that, I was also chained up like you, and had a restriction seal placed on me. From then on, I became a slave." I ask her if she wants to regain her freedom, but she angrily says, "If you were once a slave too, you should know very well about this restriction seal on my neck. I don't even dare to dream of freedom." She tells me to stop talking nonsense. The slave trader is about to come in. "Leave quickly." I chuckle. Restriction seals are annoying because generally they can only be removed by the owner themselves, or when the owner is dead, and if you're unlucky, even if the owner is dead, it still can't be removed. So your current situation should be the latter. The girl is incredibly shocked. "Don't tell me you killed my master?" Indeed, that's the truth. The girl asks me in terror, "Is there any other way to remove this restriction seal?" I tell her straightforwardly, "I have a way to help you." The next moment, I grab the collar on her throat. Then I start analyzing the mana composition in the restriction, then inject mana in reverse to slowly remove the seal. However, I'm not good at this kind of mana control, but I did seriously study methods to completely remove restriction seals. The next moment, the collar on her neck crackles. Boom! With force from my palm, I tear apart the restriction curse on the collar. From this moment on, this girl gained her freedom. The girl is so moved she almost cries. Finally, the thing that had imprisoned her is removed. Seeing the trouble resolved, I prepare to get up and leave. Handle your future life yourself. You've already gained your freedom. Whether you're looking for family or want to go home, no one will restrict you anymore. However, what I didn't expect was that when the slave trader kidnapped her, they had already killed her family. As her words fall, I slowly speak. I plan to embark on a journey. Just like killing that bald guy today, I'm going to smash the heads of all slave traders. I ask her if she's interested in joining. The girl touches her now empty neck. She's willing to come with me. After getting a satisfactory answer, I suddenly smile. "Then you'd better work hard to keep up with my pace." Then I tell her, "From now on, you're my person. You need to call me Master. Understand? And another thing, since you've acknowledged me as Master, you must use respectful terms. Don't be like a dummy who doesn't know how to respect others." My words leave the girl completely stunned, speechless for a moment. Then she reacts and asks for Master's name. No, Master's honorable name. I turn my head and tell her, "My name is Jin Joo-hyuk Kim. I'm a very powerful person." The girl shows a smile. Then she speaks her name. The memory is pulled back. Little Dummy stares at me with a smile on her face. The moment I saw her face, I remembered she's Little Dummy. As I suspected, she became a sanctuary. I can say with confidence that I understand this person better than anyone. I just can't remember her name. Could this be what the Maze Master meant by taking names? But this doesn't matter to me. After all, I still remember her nickname. I slowly speak. "Little Dummy, it's been a long time." My voice is heard by the family head behind me, who breaks out in a cold sweat. He dares to call the sanctuary a dummy? Where does he get the nerve to address the lofty sanctuary this way? Then Little Dummy picks up the short sword from the family head's hand. "Master, before feeling the joy of reunion, I need to do something first, but this action shocks the family head even more. Since when can the sanctuary directly control the sacred relic? Little dummy waves her hand, and everyone present faints on the spot. She turns her head and asks me how to handle these people. Should I just kill them all? But I don't have that plan. I have a better idea. Until the next day at school. The school receives a Valhalla sponsorship form. It shows a personal donation of 5 billion to me. This shocks the school teachers so much their jaws nearly drop. However, they have no idea what actually happened. However, they're worried that Joo-hyuk Kim might be in a bad mood and curse, refusing to accept the money. 10 minutes later, in the meeting room, I happily accept the money. The teacher is somewhat surprised. He wants to know why 50 billion was transferred to me. I tell the teacher not to worry about it so much. Since I've already accepted the money, can I leave now? But the teacher still stops me. Wait a moment. Although you received a personal sponsorship, the school also received a donation. According to Valhalla's regulations, you can transfer to the premium dormitory. Do you want to? I indicate that I don't need to change dormitories for now. If I need it in the future, I'll ask you to help me transfer. Crash. I close the door and leave, leaving the teacher alone in the room in a daze. He still doesn't understand why. He clearly remembers that last time, when the family head tried to win him over, he refused, but this time he actually accepted. However, this isn't a bad thing for the school. At that time, little dummy asked me how to handle this matter. I told her not to rush to kill them because I had a better idea. This point is very important to me. At that time, the family head was already trembling with fear, even her speech was shaking. I suddenly squat down, and just calling her name startles her. I raise my hand and point at little dummy behind me. Your sanctuary can let me do anything. What do you want to do now? Little dummy slowly says, the reason I strengthened the Bentrick family was to dedicate it to Master. It originally belongs to you, so dispose of it as you wish. Her loyalty to me always satisfies me greatly. At this moment, the family head finally reacts. Could our family's generations-old saying, all for one, have been meant for him? Little dummy's eyes are filled with anger. Of course it was meant for Master. You fool, are you only realizing this now? The family head is still somewhat incredulous. Is this student really your master? Yes, although his appearance has changed, I can tell from his mana. I tell her to stop talking. First, your verification of my identity ends here. Second, you'd better worry about your own situation. Thinking about how these people have interfered with me, even wiping out their entire family would barely satisfy my anger. But the power and influence they possess are real. So from a long-term perspective, for my life to be more comfortable, I should make good use of these people. However, I'm really too lazy to control them personally. Then I start questioning her. You're quite good at managing the family, aren't you? It turns out she was originally the vice family head but served as acting head for 4 years. During those 4 years, she turned the tide and made the declining family become the most prestigious family in country Y. Hearing her words, I'm relieved. In that case, continue managing your family. Then I show a mischievous smile. But there's one thing, you must support my activities as a family unit, and you're not allowed to ask why. Then I point again at little dummy behind me. Her aura completely radiates outward. I say to her, if you dare scheme against me again in the future, do you know what the consequences will be? Before the family head can answer, little dummy speaks first. Master, you don't need to worry. I'll personally take some measures to ensure they don't dare make a move against you. I'm very satisfied with her answer. At this moment, golden light emanates from her body. This means her time is almost up. Although this space can allow a sanctuary to manifest, it requires a massive amount of mana, and now she needs to go back and rest. However, today makes her very happy. She actually got to see her long-lost master and witness my reborn appearance. She's very satisfied. I chuckle. You should hurry back and rest. Stop talking nonsense here. But before leaving, little dummy tells me, I think some of your other disciples have also become sanctuaries. I'll meet that person soon. Then, before finishing her words, she disappears from that spot. Thinking of this, my thoughts are pulled back. Other disciples have also become sanctuaries. Although I expected this, who exactly could they be? Suddenly, I have a bold guess. Perhaps all my disciples have become sanctuaries. Thinking back, I've only seen the faces of 2 sanctuaries. One is that guy Balche, and the other is little dummy. Due to the notification window, my meeting with Balche was inevitable, but my meeting with little dummy was purely coincidental, and now sanctuaries are everywhere. I can't possibly meet them all one by one. But speaking of which, that guy Balche hasn't spoken since meeting the guide. However, just as my words fall, that domineering voice sounds. Are you calling me? The reason I haven't responded for so long is that I've been organizing my thoughts. When I entered the secret vault, his memory was interrupted. From Balche's perspective in the image world, I just went in and came right back out, so his memory of this period is interrupted. Moreover, during this time, his memories have somewhat revived, recalling many things. The most important information is about the Maze Master. It was that person who gave him the name Balch. Then I returned to the classroom and continued chatting with Balche. The one who took your original name is the Maze Master. The one who gave you the name Balche is also the Maze Master. Balche nods. When she gave me the name, she also gave me power. The power is the Tower Master of the Tower of Destruction. But I feel that power influenced my personality. So when Balche was the Tower Master, his personality was very rigid. Now it's closer to his original personality. For us, all of us on Earth are fish in the Maze Master's farm. But the guide said they have a chance to fight back. So I've been waiting for that opportunity to come. The next day, I meet the guide again. However, when I see her this time, I'm very confused. Because at this moment, I was preparing to go to the cafeteria to get food, but was teleported here by her, still holding the food tray in my hands. The guide seems extraordinarily curious. What is that glowing thing in your hands? I've never seen it before. I angrily wave the tray in front of her eyes. This is called a food tray. Even if we agreed to meet in 2 days, you can't summon me during lunch. Then I ignore her and sit down directly, telling her to hurry up and say what she needs to. I still need to rush back to eat. The guide asks if I brought the ring. Hearing her words, I directly pull out the ring from my pocket. The guide chuckles. Starting now, we need to make good use of this ring. But I feel this ring is very ordinary. Even after I put it on, nothing happens. My power doesn't increase. Why do you say we can use it to fight back? Actually, the explanation is simple. You just need to wear the ring and conquer a maze. Her words surprised me a bit. Can I just find any random maze? But I haven't discovered any naturally formed mazes recently. The remaining mazes are all managed. The guide tells me not to worry. Of course, you can't just randomly pick a maze to conquer. The maze master will soon personally create a maze. In your world's terms, it should be called a monster outbreak. After hearing her words, I'm completely stunned. Does that mean innocent people will be dragged into this? And this is the so-called disaster. Once the maze appears, monsters will surge like a flood, ravaging the surrounding areas. Before my rebirth, such incidents were commonplace, and the world had descended into chaos. But after I was reborn, these events gradually subsided. Just as life was starting to feel somewhat worthwhile, I need to figure out when the disaster will strike, where it'll happen, and how big it'll be. This disaster will occur 3 months from now. The location is supposedly in Country B, and the scale is still being determined. This is actually manageable for me since I live in Country B. But you're being so vague, how am I supposed to defend against it? The guide asks me to be understanding. After all, she has to avoid the maze master's surveillance while providing me information, so she's working under certain limitations. This world has been a maze from the very beginning. The mazes that form within this maze are deliberately created by the maze master. I'm well aware of this. He's definitely cultivating names, and when the time comes, he'll start harvesting them. The guide nods. Indeed, that's the case. She hopes to help people prepare and adapt before the Tower of Destruction appears. After hearing this, I understand somewhat. She wants me to wear this ring and destroy the maze that appears during the disaster. But before that, the guide wants to know how I usually destroy mazes. That's pretty straightforward for me. Since the bosses generated with mazes are usually tough to deal with, I typically choose to ignore them and destroy the maze stone directly. The guide praises me for being clever. That method is indeed fast, but I can't do that this time. She points at the ring on my hand. I need to wear the ring and defeat the maze's boss. Why is that? Destroying the maze stone directly would also break the maze, wouldn't it? What I didn't expect was that the guide actually has a reason. Although the world I live in is a maze, she cannot freely construct things like disasters or the Tower of Destruction, because these all require the power of the names he has obtained. The guide explains concisely. Mazes are actually constructed from names. In such mazes, the convergence point of the name's power is the maze's boss. So as long as I wear that ring and defeat the maze's boss, I can absorb the maze master's names. And this is the guide's plan. But I have a question about this. That guy has absorbed more than just 1 or 2 names, right? So if I only steal 1 name, what kind of counterattack is that? The guide chuckles. That's an excellent question. You're right, even if the maze master loses 1 name, it won't attract his attention. That guy's current goal, as I mentioned before, is to expose everyone to disasters before the Tower of Destruction appears. Actually, the key point of this plan is to eliminate the maze as quickly as possible, not just to take 1 more name. If the maze disappears before people have adapted, then the maze master will definitely take other measures. He'll expose many names to the world and trigger events. When that happens, we'll have the opportunity to absorb names in large quantities. After all, absorbed names are also a source of power for us. After hearing all this, I have another question for her. It's about creating power by absorbing names. If that's the case, then how are we any different from the maze master? This question catches the guide off guard. She didn't expect someone with my personality would actually pursue such matters. I sneer. What do you take me for? I also need legitimate justification before I can act with a clear conscience. The guide begins to explain. First, we haven't harmed innocent people by cultivating names. Furthermore, if a person's name is taken by the maze master, they either become a sanctuary or they're trapped in their name because they can't be reborn. Either way, their body is bound and ceases to exist. If you're still uneasy about this, then suit yourself. Regardless, I'll naturally learn about the name's owner and absorb their power. I chuckle. Why wouldn't I trust you? Only by trusting you will I have the chance to cause some chaos, right? So now I just need to wait for the disaster to arrive? Exactly. I'll tell you the specific location and date soon. Before then, you need to organize some team members to resist the disaster. With a snap of the guide's fingers, I return to the real world once again. Everyone is staring at me, wondering what this guy is up to. This really annoys me. That guide, seriously, she could have at least warned me before teleporting me. But then again, the guide wants me to organize some team members. I recall that before my rebirth, when handling disasters, I went with my disciples. After all, going alone not only wastes time, but also means guarding against secondary damage. Do I need to cultivate new disciples here? Just then, a figure appears in front of me. Looking closely, I see Yeonrang has appeared before me at some point, staring at me with a smile on her face. I ask her what's going on and why she's here. Turns out after this girl lost to me before, she discovered an astonishing secret, which is, you're stronger than me, so you were able to defeat me so easily. But the fact that she took so long to figure out something so obvious really puzzles me. What irritates me is that Yeonrang actually thinks I was once just like her, because she had never lost to ordinary adults and could crush them with talent alone. But if that's what she thinks, she's dead wrong. I'm actually someone who believes in hard work. Yeonrang chuckles. So what she means is that's what she used to think. She doesn't think that way now. Recalling the strikes I dealt her before, they weren't just simple attacks, but movements refined through countless experiences. Although she was furious when she lost, after calming down, she realized the reason for her defeat was very clear. It was lack of experience. Moreover, Yeonrang also felt that after exchanging blows with me, she actually became stronger. So now she has only one request, for me to keep fighting with her. Yeonrang's goal is quite ambitious. She wants to defeat me once. Always hearing her talk about fighting me, but what kind of strange logic is this? I find it annoying, so I decide to leave. At this moment, Yeonrang blocks me. She came all the way from the Empire just to compete with me. But I think with that time, she'd be better off practicing her family's inherited martial arts. After saying this, I received some surprising news. Yeonrang doesn't know martial arts. Since she can remember, after displaying amazing talent, she never received proper training again. Everything after that was self-taught. Moreover, she always felt that everyone in her family rejected her. This really surprises me. So were things like this even before you beat up those contractors? Things are indeed as I suspected. From the beginning, Yeonrang never unilaterally beat them up on her own initiative. Since Yeonrang was often excluded from the family's regular training, to prevent her skills from deteriorating, she asked them to find her some training partners. But without any explanation, they actually sent her several adult contractors. Fortunately though, the people Yeonrang defeated were all just weaklings. I'm getting more and more confused. Although what she says overlaps somewhat with what the White Lotus Society leader said, it's completely different. This girl clearly has talent and is passionate about combat, but the leader's tone made it sound like she deliberately went around causing trouble and picking fights. So I continue asking, then were you forcibly confined in the White Lotus Palace? On this point, what she says is similar to the leader. To some extent, she went involuntarily, because they openly called her the family troublemaker. In a fit of anger, she locked herself in. Anyway, she was stronger than the adults there, so going in didn't matter. But now she's come out because she found someone 100 times stronger than herself. She wants to defeat me. If fighting me can make her stronger, then Yeonrang can grow without the family's guidance. What she doesn't know is that I never agreed to fight her. This really frustrates Yeonrang. I came all this way just to fight you. After hearing her words, I find it even stranger. Yeonrang is someone rejected by her family, so she was locked in the White Lotus Palace. But then, why did the leader ask me to bring her out? Although I don't quite understand the context now, from the Seol family's perspective, wouldn't it be better for Yeonrang to stay in the White Lotus Palace? The next moment, I'm getting impatient with her. I say fine, I got it, now let go of me. Then I take the delighted Yeonrang to the training room. Meanwhile, Arin Choi and Soyeon Yu are also training here. I tell her to wait here for a bit while I go change. Just then, I'm suddenly startled by Arin Choi's shout. Arin asks me who that girl I brought is. I tell her Yeonrang is a maniac I met at the White Lotus Society. She said she wanted to spar with me, so I brought her here. Arin glances in Yeonrang's direction. Yeonrang nods respectfully and politely. The next moment she senses something is wrong because the aura emanating from Arin is quite intimidating. Would someone really come from so far away just to fight someone? After sensing Arin's aura, Yeonrang steps forward. What's with that look? Arin indicates she doesn't want to compete with her right now. Soyeon Yu behind them sees Yeonrang's hair color and figures out her background. She must be from the Seol family, right? She came from country D really just to fight Joo-hyuk Kim? Moments later, Yeonrang and I stand in Valhalla's sparring arena. The ones who decided to spar are clearly just Yeonrang and me. But when I turn around, I see 3 people watching me here. Yeonrang stretches her body, finds them quite interesting, and even boldly declares for me to wait. She'll defeat me soon. Seeing this, I'm not polite with her either. Since you're so confident in your own strength, I won't hold back. Just then, I recall what the guide told me earlier. She wants me to organize some team members to resist the disaster. I'm thinking this Yeonrang could be just the help I need. Thinking of this, I say to her, don't you want to become stronger? After hearing her response, I say, if I win here, you have to become my disciple. How about that? This statement stuns Yeonrang. The reason she wants to become stronger is to beat me. I chuckle and gather some mana in my fist. After you become my disciple, you can beat me then, can't you? These two things don't seem to conflict at all. Now I'm making my move. Yeonrang immediately assumes a defensive-offensive stance. She can't worry about all that now. First, let's have a good fight. The next moment, her elbow strike comes at me like a collapsing mountain. That strike lands on my arm without warning. I exclaim, well, looks like you've indeed improved a lot since before, and your strength has increased significantly too. It's just that no matter how hard you punch, you can't harm me in the slightest. Hearing my taunt, Yeonrang's fighting spirit becomes even stronger than before. She directly releases all her mana. Although you blocked my attack just now, this time you absolutely won't be able to block it. I stare at this blazing fire, feeling the scorching heat on my face. Arin and the others feel the same. They're unable to open their eyes due to the heat wave. What's going on? Why does the White Lotus Society have such a monster? They all feel that the mana Yeonrang just released has a higher density than Joo-hyuk Kim's mana during the tournament. With a whoosh, Yeonrang's figure is fast as lightning, immediately charging toward me. This time she's fully prepared. Even if she lands just one hit, it'll be a meaningful strike against me, because even if I block it, I'll still be impacted by the mana. But just then, Yeonrang freezes mid-charge. She sees me making the exact same movements as her. I say calmly, you like combat, and I also like head-on clashes. We both show combative smiles. In that case, I won't dodge or evade. Let's convince each other with our fists. With a bang, our fists collide directly. After the fists collide, Yeonrang's body immediately holds its ground against me. In just a few seconds, she senses something is wrong. She's already released a lot of mana, but she still can't match me. She even feels I haven't deployed all my mana. Yeonrang is incredibly shocked. She's clearly felt it. After our last confrontation, I've become even stronger during this time. At this moment, I stop attacking and say slowly, I'll take your attack head-on only this once. While she's still dazed, I've already pulled out my right leg. From the second time on, you'll have to block and counterattack on your own. With a bang, I kick Yeonrang flying with one strike, although she blocked my attack. At this moment, she feels her internal organs churning, and she realizes her earlier attacks didn't effectively hurt me at all. With a thud, Yeonrang's body can no longer hold up and collapses directly to the ground. The match ends. My battle with Yeonrang is a complete victory, and now I have another disciple. Then we lean Yeonrang's body against the wall to let her rest, but her eyes suddenly widen. The next moment, she sits up gasping. What happened? How long was I out? Then she notices her lower abdomen aching faintly. Looks like she lost again. I praise her for having decent stamina. I originally thought she'd be out until tomorrow morning, but she woke up after just 3 minutes. After hearing my words, Yeonrang doesn't know whether I'm mocking or comforting her. I snort. Stop talking nonsense now. You're already my disciple. Come on, call me master. Yeonrang appears somewhat embarrassed. She had planned to give up using mana and fight with just her body like last time, but the outcome doesn't seem like it would change. Since I lost, then I'm your disciple. The next moment, as if uninjured, she springs to her feet. Master, please accept this disciple's bow. But who bows to their master while standing? Yeonrang raises her hand and says, I'm now your first disciple. What are you going to teach me? But I pour cold water on her enthusiasm. Although you're my disciple, you're not the first one. Yeonrang's expression shows slight surprise. Don't tell me you've trained disciples before? At this moment, Aaron walks up. Joo-hyuk is right. You're not his first disciple. Then she says even more provocatively, meow meow, I received Joo-hyuk's teaching before you, so I'm his first disciple. Then Aaron looks at me expectantly. But I'm thinking, you're not my first disciple either. However, I'd better not cause trouble for myself. Let me quickly skip this topic. Hearing Aaron call her meow meow, Yeonrang immediately explodes with anger. Are you calling me you feisty girl? Hearing Yeonrang call her feisty girl, Aaron also shows displeasure. Yes, meow meow, you're not angry, are you? In the end, neither gives in to the other, and they begin endless bickering. Listening to their pointless quarreling, I'm instantly speechless. But having it lively like this, I actually quite like it. And this jealous bickering between disciples makes me feel inexplicably nostalgic, just like Little Dummy and Little Maniac before. Before my rebirth, Little Dummy and Little Maniac quarreled every single day, and every time they fought, it was because of me. Seeing it's about enough, I step in to stop them, saying meow meow. That's enough. Unexpectedly, Yeonrang's face turns red. Why are you calling me meow meow too? I tell her seriously, Aaron did indeed receive my guidance before you, so she's your senior. You must respect your senior sister because I value etiquette highly. Then, to be fair to both, I say to Aaron, you too. Now that you have a junior sister, you should guide her well instead of quarreling with her every day, understand? Aaron is suddenly moved. Am I already a senior sister now? Has Joo-hyuk Kim finally acknowledged me as his first disciple? Then she assumes the role of senior sister. I know, as a senior sister, I should be patient. Yeonrang trembles with anger. Her first point of frustration is me calling her meow meow, and the second is having to call Aaron senior sister. I tell them to stop being angry. You just got injured in today's sparring, so go rest first. Then we encounter a problem. Since Yeonrang just arrived today, she has nowhere to sleep. At the time, to find me for a fight, she didn't think much and just rushed over. She has no money either. At that time, she asked Silian what to do if she wanted to fight me again. Silian told Yeonrang to just go directly to Valhalla to find me. I have a bit of a headache. I feel like this girl is a problem child. You just came directly? That's really reckless. Then I tell her to stay at the school for now. I'll arrange a dorm for her. After hearing this, Aaron is shocked. Doesn't that mean this girl will be even closer to Joo-hyuk Kim? Time passes quickly. After those two shut up, my ears can finally rest. Yeonrang and Aaron annoy me to death, causing me to not even complete today's routine smoothly. Anyway, it currently looks like 2 people are confirmed as my disciples. Soyeon Yu is focused on building stamina and is still some distance from sword technique guidance. Seyuk Oh doesn't seem interested in this sort of thing and continues to act alone. In other words, there are 2 people who can help stop the disaster. Adding Yeonrang isn't bad either. Just then, I receive a call from Adriana. I asked what's going on, why call me so late? She's contacting me this time because the donation I asked her to handle last time, along with other matters, are now in the final stages. I make a couple of acknowledging sounds. I've already confirmed the scholarship matter. The family head seems somewhat embarrassed, so she can only ask if things are mostly resolved and whether I still need her help. However, my next words shock her immensely, because I tell her a disaster will erupt in 3 months. Assign some contractors to help me. As for where this information came from, don't get involved. Just trust me and you won't go wrong. Hearing that the disaster might occur in their country, the family head panics. She'll contact the National Guild as soon as possible and notify me once she's contacted a large number of contractors. And I confidently entrust this matter to her. If possible, conduct this as secretly as possible, because I don't want too many people to know and cause widespread panic. Then the family head has one more thing she wants to ask of me. That is, if the sanctuary wakes up, to put in a good word for her and mention her hard work. Because the family head has been trying to contact the sanctuary every day, but hasn't received any response. She might still be sleeping. Last time Little Dummy said she overused her abilities and needed to rest. I didn't expect that after a day she still hasn't fully recovered. I tell her not to worry. As long as you help me handle things properly, I'll definitely put in a good word for you in front of her. Time flies and it's now the next day at the gym. At this moment, I'm training my running stamina on the treadmill. Beside me is Aaron, keeping pace steadily with my stamina training. Next to us is my newly accepted disciple Yeonrang. At this moment, her stamina is clearly insufficient and can't last. After running for only 10 hours, she feels like she's about to run out of oxygen. After a moment, I let out a long breath. That's it for today's warm-up training. Then I glance over and turn my head to look at Yeonrang. I find that she's already exhausted, her whole body lying on the floor, gasping for breath. Yeonrang feels like her lungs are about to explode. Running continuously for 10 hours, she's never trained for this long. She sits up and complains in dissatisfaction. I almost died, but I retort firmly, aren't you still alive now? What surprises me somewhat is that she actually managed to keep up with our stamina training. I thought she'd pass out or give up halfway. Looks like she didn't just play around in the White Lotus Palace. Thinking of this, I'm somewhat pleased. Seems like Yeonrang's basic stamina is pretty decent. Should I accelerate her progress a bit? While thinking about this, I hear a knocking sound. Then I look up and see a woman who looks very much like the society leader standing before me. She asks if Yeonrang came here. This woman feels somewhat unfamiliar to me, but her appearance resembles resembles both Seolian and Yeonrang, just as Arin and I are both somewhat confused. The woman who looks like the society leader casually glances at the ground. At this moment, she finally spots her daughter. After seeing her mother, Yeonrang grimaces and shouts, "Seolyeonwa, what are you doing here looking for me?" Hearing Yeonrang's words, I understand. She's Yeonrang's mother. I thought Seolyeon was Yeonrang's mother. Yeonrang's mother chuckles. So you're the Joo-hyuk Kim who made Yeonrang run away from home. Then Yeonrang's mother introduces herself. My name is Seolyeonwa. I'm the head of the Seol family and also Yeonrang's mother. The White Lotus Society leader Seolyeon is my younger sister. No wonder I thought the two of them looked so similar. Yeonrang's mother is very curious. Seolyeon clearly promised me before that once Yeonrang left the White Lotus Palace, she would contact me. But she actually let Yeonrang come to Valhalla without contacting me. So this time she's here to take Yeonrang back and also ask Seolyeon face to face. Yeonrang is furious. In the past, whether I was ostracized or imprisoned, you didn't care at all. Now you want me to go back? What kind of joke is this? Get lost. Also, stop treating me like your daughter. You being like this disgusts and irritates me. Seolyeonwa begins to explain. Driving you away was the sanctuary's instruction. You know that too, don't you? Why blame me? But this matter wasn't told to Yeonrang by her mother. Yeonrang recently heard about it from a maid. Otherwise, she'd probably still be kept in the dark. Seolyeonwa thinks that since she already knows, there's no point asking about the sequence. Besides, this time going back is because the sanctuary told her to bring Yeonrang back. Moreover, this time is a bit special. It's a chance for Yeonrang to gain the sanctuary's approval once more. Don't bring shame to her again. Upon hearing it's the sanctuary's request, even the bold Yeonrang feels somewhat uneasy. Even now, you still want me to go back? In other words, the reason you let me leave the White Lotus Palace recently was to let me gain the sanctuary's approval? Seolyeonwa nods. That's right. All of this is Lord Sanctuary's will. At this moment, Yeonrang roars, "Get out! There are still students exercising in this gym. You coming here will disturb them, so hurry up and leave," she warns her mother. This is neither the Seol family nor the White Lotus Society, so don't think about causing trouble here. Seolyeonwa chuckles. I knew this situation would arise, so this time I didn't bring bodyguards at all and came here alone. Her purpose in doing this is to avoid being concerned about others' reactions and take Yeonrang away directly. The next moment, blue mana gathers in her palm. With a bang, Seolyeonwa's cold palm strikes heavily on Yeonrang's chest, and she infuses powerful mana through her palm, penetrating Yeonrang's body. Although this force doesn't truly harm the body, it can temporarily paralyze Yeonrang's resistance nerves. Yeonrang's arms block in front of her. She actually blocked that move just now. But a mother suddenly attacking her daughter, this really displeases Yeonrang. She doesn't want to endure it anymore. The next moment, her speed surges forward in a sprint. If she wants to defeat her mother Seolyeonwa, she must win in one strike, ending the battle with the fastest speed and strongest attack power. At this moment, Yeonrang speaks slowly. You should still remember, right? Last time you rushed at me, I was the one who defeated you. Yeonrang leaps up above Seolyeonwa, preparing to deliver a heavy blow. But Yeonrang soon discovers that although her attack landed, it didn't cause her mother any harm. Moreover, her proud combat technique is actually blocked by her mother with one hand. Yeonrang, you've indeed become stronger. Looks like you didn't just play around in the White Lotus Palace. Yeonrang snorts coldly. I didn't want to fall so far behind you all just because I was in an empty space, so I trained even harder. The next moment, Seolyeonwa's palm applies slight force, making Yeonrang's fingers crack. You must return to the Seol family to study properly. Seolyeonwa wastes no more words, and with a flick of her hand flips Yeonrang's body around. This greatly surprises Yeonrang. What's going on? When did she become so powerful? The next second, Yeonrang reacts and immediately reverses her body position, adjusting her angle and landing steadily on the ground. Without pausing, she immediately raises her foot and kicks towards Seolyeonwa. Seolyeonwa feels Yeonrang's attacks are still as savage as ever, completely lacking any technique. Yeonrang tells her to shut up. A defeated opponent has no right to lecture her. Watching the mother and daughter fight before us, Arin and I can't help but comment. I feel Seolyeonwa is really annoying. Arin feels the same way. She thinks Seolyeonwa clearly abandoned her own daughter, but now because of urgent need wants to drag her back. That's really too much. So she thinks little Meow Meow must be very depressed, surely wanting to escape that family with all her heart, but fearing the sanctuary's power, she can't leave. At this moment, Yeonrang's attack lands again, but is easily blocked by Seolyeonwa. She tells Yeonrang to stop this futile resistance and hurry back with her before getting hurt. After hearing Seolyeonwa's taunt, Yeonrang's feet secretly activate mana. The next moment, catching Seolyeonwa off guard, she immediately kicks up. Seolyeonwa is kicked flying back more than 10 meters. Then Yeonrang shows a triumphant smile. That kick just now was infused with mana and delivered fiercely. Even if she can block it, she'll surely be seriously injured. But the next second, something unexpected happens. Her foot, right after that kick, has turned directly into ice. Seolyeonwa says with displeasure, "This should be the first time you've seen me use magic, right?" Then she introduces her family's sanctuary, the Snow Abyss King's ability, and she even promises that after Yeonrang returns home, she can also obtain the opportunity to wield this power by signing a contract with the sanctuary. To this, Yeonrang shows disdain. I was wondering how you became so powerful. Turns out you're relying on someone else's power. Looks like you're as despicable as ever. Seolyeonwa doesn't care about Yeonrang's words at all. This world is just like this. There's no such thing as despicable. Besides, you're not judging my true level based on your old standard of physical combat results only, are you? Then Seolyeonwa poses her final question. I'll ask you one last time. Are you willing to leave here with me? Then Seolyeonwa even extends her palm, inviting Yeonrang to return with her. However, Yeonrang's answer is straightforward. There's no way I'm going back with you. Seolyeonwa sighs. What a disobedient child. Now I can only use violent means to take you back. Then Seolyeonwa flashes dash steps right in front of Yeonrang. Since you're so stubborn, don't expect me to take you back unharmed. Yeonrang curses inwardly, damn it. Her right foot is completely frozen and she can't react at all. Seeing this, Seolyeonwa waves her hand. This time I'm going to freeze and shatter your right arm. I'll make you watch your arm disappear bit by bit so you can reflect properly. A clanging sound is heard as I kick away Seolyeonwa's attack. I tell her that's enough. Stop making things difficult for Yeonrang. If you don't heed this warning, then I'll personally intervene.